financial sector. And this will involve sweeping reforms at the Bank of Ghana, because the central bank itself has been a part of creating this problem. I'll create the foundation that will ensure that Ghana will never suffer such a deadly debt management program that threatens to send our elderly people holding government bonds to an early grave and wipe out the investments of the Ghanaian middle class. I'll prioritize local participation in the banking, financial, telecoms, mining, oil and gas, agriculture, manufacturing and construction sectors to generate more jobs for our youth. The Ghanaian young men and women we interact with on a daily basis and their colleagues in other African countries are simply tired of the jobless GDP figures. We will actively attract viable and serious private sector investors to partner government to invest in the productive sectors of this country for more jobs to be created. I will advocate strongly the return of investors who have left because of the poor management of this economy by NPP. We will restore stability and inclusive growth in the economy. And as I said already, I'll run the leanest but most efficient government under the Fourth Republic by appointing not more than 60 ministers and deputy ministers. And I said already, I'll work to abolish the payment of ex gratia and cut out waste and ostentation in government. We shall work with Parliament and all stakeholders to complete the Constitution review process and strengthen the separation of powers. Government procurement is recognized as a major source of corruption and misappropriation of public funds. We will therefore, among other measures, set up an independent value for money office to scrutinize all government procurements that are above a $5 million threshold, or as shall be recommended by Parliament. I will give anti-corruption state institutions unfettered space to operate. The days of the clearing agents must come to an end on January 7, 2025. I'll also set up a commission of inquiry to investigate the matter of looted and stolen state lands. And the same commission will make recommendations for resolving the vexed issue of expropriated Gardangbe lands. And to deepen our democracy, the fourth estate of the realm, the media must also be given a conducive and collaborative atmosphere to operate as the fourth power that they ought to be, without threats, harassment and assassinations. In this regard, we shall speed up the investigation of the assassination of Ahmed Swale. And the perpetrators shall surely be brought to book. The first thing, government must take responsibility for this messy economy arising from its reckless borrowing and mismanagement of the country. This is going to be one of the immediate actions of my government, God willing, when voted into office. I'll lead a process to set a standardized limit for public borrowing. Government has refused to cut expenditure by reducing the size of government and adjusting the compensation and allowances of appointees and profligate expenditure. The President is rather appointing more people and continuing to recklessly overspend. Only recently, he appointed a CEO for mortuaries and funerals. John Mahama and NDC government will respond to the concerns of the Ghanaian people proactively and drastically cut down on the number of ministers and other government appointments
for a long time and have been changing their names up till this day. The nature of who they are Listen. Munjie, the nature of who they are, what they are, where they've come from, is something they are happy with, and they will be there for a long time. Let's not mimic their behavior.
Pempenswa Ghana edrui. Ghana fo nyina bebi amekobia. Omo say abra ndisi wa ban mu na omo hoton mo. Ezu omo say na Ghana na ne sura himemu enso obi aye ne djuma kakrakra enye bibi hwe ne ho ehwe ne ma. Enso enne die cry Ezu ene de Ghana ya ye mobododo Samokai esi ati den so enso den na nempo na kom de ye chen de bia Ezu enso ye nuanom omubie
punished for. Nanayao Enin is the chief of Kobro. He indicates imperial heritage came back to mine in the forest after it was driven out. Sir John met the whole community and told us they were doing reclamation. But in the end, when they mined and Japan burnt his machines, he came back to mine in the forest. The soldiers and the Forestry Commission know he came back. In 2021, Imperial Heritage was back mining in the Odamu section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve, this time with a mining lease. This was at the time when the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Obujinapo, had declared forest reserves and water bodies red zones and restricted areas where no mining should be allowed to take place.
We are pursuing that strongly.
The minister also instructed the Forestry Commission to desist from issuing forest entry permits for purposes of mineral prospecting or mining in any forest reserve. But in 2021, my team met Imperial Heritage Mining Limited and its Chinese miners mining the Odaho section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve under the protection of over 30 fully armed military men. After our expose of the illegality in 2021, the military personnel were withdrawn, but authorities are yet to make public findings on who assigned them. The chief of Kobro, Nanayao Enin, narrates how he and his elders were treated when they confronted military men who besieged the forest to protect other miners in 2022.
On
Monday, I, my Linkos, and some of my elders took a trip deep into the forest. We met a barrier manned by armed soldiers. This was in 2022. I introduced myself as the chief of Kobro and caretaker of the forest for the Pai Paramountcy. I told them we noticed some activity in the forest. We demanded to see their documents so we could inform the king of their presence. The soldier called the owner of the mining site on phone and told him of our presence. His boss told him to ask us whether the forest is owned by the government or the people of Kobro. We couldn't challenge the armed soldiers, so we left. Since then, other illegal miners have joined the fray.
Now look at this. You can drive miles of devastation caused to this reserve.
The once green Apamprama Forest Reserve has been largely reduced to a wasteland. Valuable tree and animal species are all gone.
Maybe this is the only green that is still active. But valuable trees, the flora and fauna, animals, the river Oda, which lies dirty here, they are all gone.
In the face of evidence of the chiefs and people, the youth of Krobo testifying to the illegal mining operations of Donald and CG Alaska, now Heritage Imperial. How can he say that there is no evidence to prosecute the company? What does he need to do to confirm that the company only had a prospecting license and that the company was engaged in illegal mining? Did the police even visit the first site where, according to Frimpong Boateng, the illegal mining took place? Did they speak to the chief? Did they speak to the people? Did they speak to multimedia and the other journalists who were part of this mission or this assignment? The answer is a big no. And that is because Ghana's Attorney General Godfrey Diabua Dame does not have the interest of the people of this country at heart. To protect facts that the Professor Frimpong Boateng reports contains evidence to the fact that the Central Regional Vice Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic, Horace Ekwawusi, and others were deeply involved in the missing excavator scandal. In fact, Frimpong Boateng, as Minister for Environment, reported the then Central Regional Vice Chairman, Ekwawusi, and the then Central Vice Chairman, John Uforiata, and the Central Regional Security Coordinator, John Uforiata, and others to the police as persons responsible for the missing excavators in 2019. The advice of the Attorney General records how the statement of one Setmante a journalist previously with Accra-based Peace FM, in which former first member of Gallant Stop, and that in the course of operation of Gallant Stop, he became a contact boy for miners whose excavators were seized by the task force. In a statement to the police, Setmante confessed that miners were directed by John Oforiatta to pay between 50,000 and 55,000 into his bank account at NIB to influence the anti-Galamsey task force to release the seized excavators. Setmante further stated that all the monies paid into his bank accounts were withdrawn by him and paid to the Central Regional Security Coordinator John Oforiatta, who gave Ekwawusi his share. According to Setmante, about 27 of the seized excavators were released to these miners. All these facts, friends from the media, are contained in Setmante's own statement, which he gave to the police upon his arrest in 2019. And this statement is contained in the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report. And in fact, when the police contacted Professor Frimpong Boateng, according to the Attorney General, he gave them this statement again, which is in their custody, by the way, and added the official bank statement of the NIB account of Setmante, which was used to receive these bribes. For those of you who may not have seen the statement, we'll project it on the screen now. This is Setmante's own statement to the police, given. And in fact, it may not be eligible from the screen, but we're going to circulate copies of that so that you can read for yourself. He confessing to the fact that he facilitated the payment of bribes to government functionaries for the release of these excavators. In the face of this smoking gun evidence, what other evidence does any reasonable prosecutor need to prosecute Setmante, John Oforiatta, or Ekwawusi for the stolen or missing excavators? In any case, what has the police done about this scandal since the matter was formally reported by Professor Frimpong Boateng in 2019? The Attorney General should tell Ghanaians about the outcome of this investigation, if any, and how, as AG, he worked with the police to thoroughly investigate this matter in the interest of the public. Why are the likes of Horace Ekwawusi, Setmante, and John Oforiatta, who are the key perpetrators of this crime, still walking free? Why is Godfrey Dami deferring the prosecution of the culprits in this matter under the guise of further investigations in the face of such smoking gun evidence? How many years, ladies and gentlemen, does the police need to investigate this open and shut matter? The invasive and shameless Attorney General, who is clearly out to pervert justice, must answer these pertinent questions. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, on the issue of the complicity of Mr. Albert Joseph Kwam, former member of Parliament for Mansour Dubia, in the illegal sale of mining concessions, the former regional NADMO boss and former first regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party, listen to his title, former Ashanti regional NADMO boss appointed by President Akufo-Addo, and former first regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region, by name Kwabena has publicly corroborated the assertions by Professor Frimpong Boateng. In an interview on Kumasi-based Sumpa FM, Kwabena recounted how Mr. Albert Kwam approached him and asked that he provides him with his company's certificate for a mining concession. Kwabena went on to say in the said interview that after supplying Mr. Kwam with his company's certificate, he was called by the Minerals Commission one day and given documents pertaining to the ownership of a mining concession, only for the concession to be sold to another person by name Ejawusu without his consent. Kwame Senche asserted that he recorded one of his conversations with Mr. Albert Kwam and has evidence of these matters. He further averred that he has officially reported the matter to the police, national security, and the Office of Special Prosecutor, and that he is willing to testify to these issues. Now, many of you may be hearing this for the first time, so we will play to you snippets of the said interview, and you will see this Ashanti Regional Vice Chairman of the NPP, a man who was appointed not too long ago by President Akufo-Addo to be the Ashanti Regional NADMO boss, confessing, confirming, and vindicating the position of Professor Frimpong Boateng that Mr. Albert Joseph Kwam used his position as a member of the Minerals Commission to acquire mining concessions which he sold to MPP functionaries. The main reason for losing his seat. Can we hear that tape now? If that is a video.
Anopema menkwa homano so na mene Kwabena Senche twen komo. Anopema menkwa homano so na mene Kwabena Senche twen komo all the way from Canada. Honorable Kwabena Senche, former NADMO boss Asante Mantemwa, former first vice MPP. Me watching. Now what to say?
Me
so me ho ye pa. Anopay ye friend wa and some wa Ghana web ni ade na. Say what be here say wo so kire wudim. Esan say e fa ho. O certificate e dia common concession ama e ho abasem. Die na wo kafa ho. Na me mo ate say yewra Prof Kwam e wa homa no so. Enti chama wo ka bia no. Wo tie ma yentie.
The Basipa so wo so. Man say we tie no na me tell na to come up when na me tia open so.
93.1.
Emukwe na say dia some no fire by no eni. Emi obi. Office ni galamse ni minu na pattern na mena kwa mulu bida.
Correct.
Ana profan by. Ana osi. Your certificate I want family. Na when concession I. Enti ni minu ntimi for chairman case, any case by. Enti yetitu ile bibi koma. Ebetwa mu say obesuma na kwada diaba akola no ba for 2 months kwada no fama no entiam say akola no fere na no tibia no for me 1 time bi na.
All right, so that's it live at 100.5 moment of truth press conference. Jumedia Ekoso Ewo NDC national headquarters. And I de SS Kakra Ebre Monsebeya Mubenwa de Kra Ekoso. They are talking about Galamsey and other matters arising. And my only concern is about the timing. Because there are some few issues in the Bayache 1 year, 2 years ago, and but it doesn't take away the fact that because crime, I mean, there is no specified time. Edema a year bonifusemwa obiye crime any a year expiring date in the end ne kwanso no. Just that and many people I feel say that but it's good say some because from Pom Boateng so raise some issues about Galamsey. The fact of the matter is that Galamsey no Akufo-Addo no mu agusu a omoyo Akufo-Addo bawomia abino any mu nkrofo gusu a still omo A2 Galamsey no across the country for A2 omo business no enim obia enim sadie we. So I think say it's just fair for the opposition party to take up the matter. And what Juma ena omo no awie ewo NDC a press conference. I say awie na yeti say emranti a omo ko attack UTV for no. You say ya punish omo obia 2,400 Ghana cedis. Ya fine omo. Ya fine omo. Court no find omo guilty. Ewo abonefo sema omo ye eno ho and ye fine any de ema omo so say wo attack obi e okromu a ye njelu ye fine a journalist that they claim say ono akwa ka wa defame eye Magdan say journalist no omo chinu to mu 2 weeks say bro no omo bu no e watema police station o say there you wawu mysteriously e okrom ha you understand enti what is it no say but say obi MPP ni attack obi a ye no MPP ni no ye fine no till somebody is alleged say we publish false information about Magdan. Ya didn't come 2 weeks. Opie ba ya no obewu ye. But say MPP ni physically attack somebody a. Sa MPP ni ye fine no. Ono ye fine. Any money etua. This is the second time. Yet Kroma and Akufo-Addo boys ni militant group wa wate omodi atuo ene ma estorm a certain court Kumasi High Court Wabra Court no was in session Obabesia neti akonwam they attacked the woman they attacked the court ebon krofo ewo court clerk ne nasefo eje eye omo criminal boys the only thing the same court was able to do is to just fine them. Fine. Omo fine. Penalty. Omo etuaye. This is the second time. And that is why I keep on telling everybody, Akufo-Addo supporter, attack you baby, you don't need to go to the police station. What you need to do is to defend yourself and defend well. You have the legal right to arm yourself as a Ghanaian. You have the legal right to arm yourself as a Ghanaian. Mema obia NCC, mema obia NCANCHE say, no, you have the legal right to arm yourself. Hadie bia what your constitution numwa ultimate register say hadie we me personal property a woman hono. You can do it and protect yourself. That Akufo-Addo supporter attack wo fie wo jumam baby wo biano. You don't need to go to the police station. Don't go. What you need is to defend yourself hard. The outcome there, you are defending yourself and you should defend yourself at all cost. That is my point.
Nana Kwabena Bobie Ansah Bema be meti gara from kube puntimpuna si sokode no wakachira katabin say you what you can say Kwabena keja guma mne yanko
oh Nana Bobie Ansah on the Citizen Show stay with Nana Bobie Ansah all the politics you can know on my FM 100.5 tune to the Citizen Show Nana Bobie Ansah yeah
Namigo Kogrochu to for Kwabena Dewa Manube Wawe Magbora Netwa Chikapo Namigo Kogrochu to for Kwabena Dewa Manube Netile wasi Nova Mipo They will say Nova Mipo Yape Mau ya Megaponu Netile wasi Nova Mipo Newu sele wowu Nova Mipo Yape mawu ya medra ponuwo Netile wasi Nova Mipo Newu sele wowu Nova Mipo Yape mawu ya medra ponuwo Wawe magbona Metro Achikapo Nami Kobo Chuka for Kwabena Newa Honugbe Wawe Magbona Metro Achikapo Nami Kobo Chuka for Kwabena Newa Honugbe Netile wasi Nova Newu sele wowu Nova Yabre mawu ya medwa ponuwo Netile wasi Newu sele wowu Nova Mipo Yabre mawu ya medwa ponuwo Mi ma fogbedewo Obenu pe mawu adujina mi Mi ma fogbedewo Obenu pe mawu adujina mi Mi ma fogbedewo Bima fogbedewo obenu premawu adujina mi Bima fogbedewo metu oledidima Bima fogbedewo obenu premawu adujina mi Bima fogbedewo obenu premawu adujina mi Mi ma fogbedewo obenu premawu adujina mi Mi ma fogbedewo
All right, young boy, walk by Jack. Citizen show mame zoom straight na men kwankwa ya juma. All right, so ya tell say president say or call affected areas no na wakwa hwe wo mu initial near so bedru ho be 130 me ne o ka say ya check ya still on drew ye but me say me team eno wa chiri say mo check e de maye. And this morning, Namitie Orura Kenzo, that is the deputy director VRA, and he is in charge of engineering. And that Odim Komobia with Bernard Avle and Komano na emuye nya kakra. And I said that enyani ye because or say almost started simulation exercise in May. Sorry, in this year May. And almost started. So which means obviously they were looking forward. Then in September 15th, and almost started the spelling. Mitie Ohinibi ewo one of the Sojamai villages. And Waka say they just came there. That's via Reforno Baho. I think said last week Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And almost ejay ensuo no mu ema ensuo no ababetwi afa omoso. And I think these kind of things so unfortunately for us as a country no punish civil servants apart from politicians punish civil servants no apart from Tina obi to say Addison say no ni Jimmy ababete ya woto e Bank of Ghana on wo Jimmy but Obehu the last. You see, I keep on saying this that Ghanaians vary or more tactics say NDC ba nobody say Addison almost say omonini bibia can. The ordinary citizens will go to Addison's house and ask for the money. Yan the trouble bebe kromano. Oh yes. Yan the trouble bebe kromano. We need to go the Malian way, the Burkinabe way, the other. We need to go that way. Not the BCBSC. We cannot sit in here and claim Ghana for the Yempe and Wasem. Then we have some silly elements, some riff-raffs, rogue, stupid people taking advantage of the system, sucking the system like never. No, we won't agree. We will vary our tactics. We will vary it. Say street for aji boom akon krofo fie ba ko mienu a. Aha. After everybody so and I make us say obi ahwe and this we near the beba. But today that is not my issue. Enu betwa mu keke. Ene many break akra. Because you know voter region is my second home. Voter region is my second home. And I can even say it's my first home. Weekendi na me wo ho. Me chini ko other places. Me ko eye nkurani bi ase. Some of them I don't know them. We tried say ye beboa wo kakra. Me drive ekoko far soga kofa eyusu dabala. The other time I was at Agbozume, Tetekope. I was at Tetekope, and even before the spillage, you know, baby to say Agbozume, and those areas, you know, they were having issues with Ansah, Afa. I mean, you're driving through baby, now we interact with them. And it's sad. It's a very sad situation. It's a very sad situation. All right. And then quick one no. My men show baby or and then near my air and it will shock you. My men show baby near my air It's so sad. And let me say this. I've heard them talking about GRA hit target near the other. When you gather amount for tax and the president steals the money. Yes, Akufo-Addo is stealing our money. He's a thief. So the issue is not about how much you have gathered from the people. The issue is Kwabena befa so yusu sikano. Right? Kwabena befa so yusu sikano. Sa oje jenko for tax. Na ba Akufo awie sikano. Akwa dia. I mean, hey, enya sa na ye no. Please. Okay, so let me show you some video scenes of what is going on in voter region, eastern region, and other places. Let me show you some. Okay, so videos no by no almost say backpack awadua ni was central town. So all the places no was central town. Right? All the places in was central town. All the videos in here was central town. Okay, all right. So let's have a view of what went on these areas and still currently near my airport. When it comes to Ansah Eyiri Afo Manfo. And let me say men commend other media houses are omo any abria omo fatu omo hoso.
So those are farms taken over by the water. You can see people's farms are in the water, and it's very deep actually. It's deep, it's more than 4 feet, so you cannot walk inside. And you can see that structure has been totally immersed in the water. That structure, which used to stand tall here, is now collapsed. This is the situation here at Abadue. This is a house. About 3 structures here are totally collapsed. This is how serious it is here. I don't want us to go far because I'm scared. The electric wires are in the water, and we are not too sure where we cannot pass. But this is the situation here. And my residents tell me This started around midnight. The level of water have risen and it has caused these buildings to collapse. So these are
Wow.
I was.
Wow. So yen na yehu the first and how amount for our aka so you can see that baby. All right, amount for omo aka so when baby a omo no ebi ehia tent ebi ehia shelter wotie eye enipa no a na akola esi kodo no so no osi anadwena enso no hia ase se ebuba. So just imagine say what da anadwo, you don't know what is happening. The ohun ya ni say enso ababa beto. And with the first video, that is why I'm telling you that look, various institutions, various companies eya ombetimi aye bibi ade we start ya che starting on the 15th of September, and we can all go back and go and check. Jo mama na kwa wontina na akufado aye na adwene say eso no so ko nko. But me person e won me ba wa ba ye ho adwuma. But me say me tro currently enyema omu ekom sesia through Asiojamana Adasege any other voter Northton especially yes Northton pa I hit one hard Northton Southton and I hit one hard pa heavy anyway. So Toja says interministerial committee government after their investigation there will be no punishment for those wrongdoers. How can this happen in this modern world? Okay, so Ben DK Gilo is here with us on Facebook. Now the production crew know this is an electricity company, right? Yeah, one also in so na no complete. Monyadio electricity company in so fa the whole company complete. And as of this morning, let me follow our discussion. No, me say Omoka say Amoma shut it down. They are trying to give power to other places. Theophilus Glover says very sad. So we have a president in our country, very sad. And Kwajofi Agba says very careless, reckless government. Okay, so young uncle say another incident. Janetta Collins said Mepe is down in the water. Yes, they are down in the water. They are gone. They are gone. It's so sad. And young uncle said baby to say electricity company. Yeah, in so wow. Are they video? Tell him.
I was.
Wow. Are they video? Tell him.
I was.
Wow. Are they video? Right, so this is a year backpack. And also affected areas now, baby, it's a North Town, South Town. Then we have Agbazu Media, bare last 2 weeks. Now, before that incident, we know, area to say Agbazu Me, Tatakope, Kliko, and those areas, Ninano, now flats, I shall say, hit one, you know, there, a normal rains, but offer a Sujaman, any those areas, no, a year spillage, no, a buy, no. You know, and I'm more enya sa problems no. But my point is say, enmity Orua Kenzo, or say almost started spelling no 15th September. Be last 2 weeks, and a complaints eba. Last weekend, Yana JM echo all right. JM was there last week because this weekend, na so many we have a voter region. So you far adaklu. You see other villages at the core inside Echo Yard there. So yeah, where's now JM JM we in statement Ansah it is a Akufo-Addo so corner. And then almost 130 still on Ruho. Ya frebusa almost on Ruho or say 3. So we are waiting. Now it's 3-5. We are just waiting. We'll be here at the basic. But young another incident. Marcus.
So I'm currently in one of the residents. Look at how deep the water has come. It has come so deep. Now we cannot even walk, and we need to use the canoe. It has two structures that we immersed in water. So look at that structure. They have all been immersed in water. And the whole community, I mean, the whole community is taken over by water. So we're trying to go to other communities to see what is happening. These residents are already evacuated here. We are trying to get everybody evacuated. So people's farms, and it is very deep. You cannot want to. Yes. So this is the situation here at Kwabena. It happened because of the spillage of the dam, Kosovo Dam. So some parts of the island have advised that it's not safe to be here any longer. And so we're trying to move all the community members here. Yeah. So I'm currently in one of the residents. Look at how deep the water has come. It has come so deep. Now we cannot even walk, and we need to use the canoe. It has two structures that we immersed in water. So look at that structure. They have all been immersed in water. And the whole community, I mean, the whole community is taken over by water. So we're trying to go to other communities to see what is happening. These residents are already evacuated here. We are trying to get everybody evacuated. So people's farms, and it is very deep.
Enya de papa eso on my Ghana yetena wo hwe and obi bia wo temenka wo mwa biara mo betimi akwa akoboa wo mo yesre mo betimi akwa akoboa wo mo. Let's do this. Let's do this for our own Ghanaian brothers and sisters. Omo ye Ghana for omo ye yenuanom. They are our blood. We can't allow them to suffer alone. We need to stand with them. We need to show care. We need to show love. We need to show that Ghanaian hospitality. We need to show them that yes, yenu wamo ena stand ya kopi mewiye. They are our brothers. Inti yebesre moi medika kachre mo that the station Accra FM and sanction Bibia, so I can't do it out of my own, you know. But I wish the administration will put something together and see if they can gather nneɛma kakra at least fa nkɔkyɛ wɔ mo ne titiri yɛ ntare ne aduane ntare aduane yɛsrɛ mo. Now, Mao Smith says the whole of Mepe is down. Parts of South and North Town is gone. It's very sad and disheartening. Koyab Kofi says Nadmo will give them uncooked rice so that they will cook it in the water. Okay, so Abna Honuche is here. So just says I'm going mad. Why Ghanaians have to suffer this way? All right, so there's another but Enamika said mitie VR4 explanation noa. Or are they 1 and 2? It doesn't make sense. But said ye crow is it no. The civil servants will just do things anyhow, negligently and go away. Omon found any asem, and that's it. They don't care. Whatever happens, they don't care. And it's so sad. Say Abanisa. That's it. Okay, so that's it. Enya dia obia ebe pese asem no eye na nika ntino obedi ehon komo. But saa de we senka o mind se Ghana punish obi e wo ho a at least ko be we na yeni akenzo oh flexi or CTFM ni ade kasa baba no ho kama. I mean as if say be BNC nothing. But that is the system we have. We have such system because say NDs in the beba, say omo appointed NDs in equal VR. Then their own people take positions. MPP bar the same thing. So asemsia yebe punishing ni panono. Na aye problem. In Titem biano, the civil servants no use politicians no they hide behind them and they fool and walk away. And this VR management ni nyina no eni kwase mo bi atena ho but they are there. Look at somebody to say Addison, this foolish foolish boy sitting at a Bank of Ghana, but for so a friends a party ba or MPP ni ba. This guy has, I mean, no locus so better a Bank of Ghana say yeah Bank of Ghana Ghana for there. We need such a dummy. But because of politics. So the civil servants, they have taken advantage of the political, because we have very stupid political leaders, and yehunu bisa bepemene ama na me no ka say the most stupid political leadership I've ever seen and Ghanaians have ever witnessed, and we will never witness it again in our lives. Kufuor and Bawumia leadership, very stupid people, very stupid. In this the acoso with VR, I don't think say Ghana for sure a more form hoodie. But as usual, they will set up a 3-man, 4-man committee, blah 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 blah. No. Judy Ansah says half of Mafe at the Tekpo 2 is gone. Delake Godsway says Ghana, my country, very sad. Razak Waja says Ghana, so sad. Okay, so there are other messages coming in. Meaning more bushia for elsewhere those areas, Mubetimi any akasa. More bushia for those areas, Mubetimi any Eddie and Komo from that point. Now Munkaila Al Hassan. Okay, so Munkailu Al Hassan says good afternoon, Commander. Okay, good afternoon, Munkailu. Darling Boy Mujib says very disheartening. Darling Boy, so then there is another issue about health matters. Okay, all right. So Janetta Collins says shallow-minded and lacking practical common sense. Kwame Jemfi says, "Oh my Ghana penny, Commander." Victoria is here with us on your Facebook page. So I think we have serious issues to talk about. Richardson Ken says, "Good afternoon, Commander." Majoso Richardson. Now, one says, watching you live from Wenchi in the Bono region. Okay, Alasan, thank you. Say, Oshaye. All right, so, Mami Kwacha, another fourth video of what is going on. Muhammad Osmano Mijima. It's only God who will punish a MPP and their leadership. Mokai said, Sierra Leone. There was this disaster in Sierra Leone. And within a short period, Yere Akufo-Addo, I'm saying I need more than 1 week. Yere Akufo-Addo went there and donated $1 million physical cash with food. Me pacho o screenshot Sierra Leone de noye fato sumame food and other things, food, medicine, and other stuffs. And all right, so Mamine Dr. Senanu Kwesi Jokoto, Regional Director of Health Service, Volta Region in Nkomo. Doc Akwaba.
Yo, Minya Mejo, so me charity for you now.
Metie for Jo, so Boko, dear.
So answer the better was some patch Mamine correction to Huawei. I'm the acting Regional Director of Health Service. Now, it's the same Regional Director, Dr. Crisantos Kubio, and to me, a Deputy Director, Public Health.
Oh, okay.
So we are
okay. Deputy Director.
My schedule is to supervise public health activities.
Okay. Sorry. Public health, problem, right? Sir. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Doc, quick one. Where Mami Nika Ma Yako, because Volta region is your region. Apart from say a Juma or a civil servant one, it's your region. It's your home region. Inti Mami Ma Yako. In times like this, no, ayana the emotional trauma, no, ayana ano dinkakra. So you say you joining on you share with your pain and your frustrations and everything. But then you busa say currently enamity various radio stations now omo dim komo. And I think I listened to one radio station, they were saying say even in Sono ebi kuko baby a one cemetery. Baby, so there are septic tanks, toilet facilities, and a papai consume health situation. No, say and say our Volta region, any other places are or my affected.
You know, me that's to say, wa mami, akwenya we se me o ma po nyina ndi nkomo, enti me san fa so na machia etie fo nyina. Na me san da wa se wa dwene ye ho. Na oso to anamo a ebeboa ye nyina nti the gidi say obi enim di fa we nyina ba ya akosombo dam spillage no and say bosumi etwem na omshase ye nanso bosumi we ba to so edu no na emu yiri yankasa na our health situation media Volta region were 18 districts. Na meka say districts are account mo pa maintain mo account mo pa ye nyansa. The Tong Enclave, North Tong, South Tong, and Central Tong. Anka Anglo Angloga district no so account mo kakra but ye ka say enyen obia. Na o he dipatu do we no ama omwestri omufie na empindu no 12,000 and account more just somebody
hey Doc me pacho 12,000 no efa
12,000 displaced in 3 districts,
just 3 districts
according to our own rapid assessment as health service.
I see
ingana age my not before na kasa your health facilities near the ado areas ningina
yeah
na yes your health workers account more as say omope be at now so over 100 health workers in Sione or more omonyoma near the ade yamiadom yetumi nye baby at the BDS here now so a bit dear to me and for omonyoma ningina enti the edikan no the na hu hia say be and say hwe say obi ahoye na insurance phobia nti no ye ne amafo nyina Nadmo Assembly MP na ya say dumano after baby amo omatna. Now the health service no the na ya hwene unze yengama pi ebe apomodin ba yes essential health services obi nyina ya say hwe no and no ANC nkran wey omoba so ebe omopanye se de ebe ya enyare wa bedire no enka nkolai enti saa nyama nyina so obuso yare ya eso timba ya sabia na ehwe no na yare ne ko enti saa we nyina no se no omo a ensuo na yi omu nyina no yentumi hwe omo saa enti bia na efe ya ebetumi ebru sankofo yi no sustenance of essential health service nti ano ye dagene ba ko a ye ho eduma na ye ka say so no Richard Novati Hospital also got copper me sure say we hu say amanfo bebre akotia omo mlano ye former president His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so ko ho assembly akoho MP akoho health service yesu akoho nso yom inti no saa hospital nanka ehwe amanfo bebre so got copper no say no enye eduma na omomotre kra nka sabi omonya nyame agi omokra anka ye pe krabia mo no nipa baako 300 bodies no say pe bi kotna na esan say nsu abowura ho nyina no omokwan no so no edeni ansa na we twem sa wokopa yare sabia the enezima health workers na up to 61 health workers in here nti ho ne nyeduma no say pressure no bra beda hospital so for so nti ese no so yehwe ne yepe baby Emma health workers na omakobo omo hospital ba for district hospital also back up omotumi aka amanfo na eto bio so eba ne say a di amanfo baby ebe tumi affect omapo modin nsem insuom benom ebe tumi affect omo baby ombeda sabio se oko ekruba kwa e no song ye friend mefa up to 25% of the population so yomo na me koho na no o hwe obi amafo abronsan amwesi ani na won nsuomu enye se ebia etu no wo nan ho ye se afro abronsan no up to roofing level na say ehwo nyina na ekọ enti no kra o ka say nsuo no sabio bebia amafo ko bichire no ebi pet latrine say ka pet latrine amoti ase ye okuma na different treating ebi so ho septic tanks ni ade even the boarding vehicles ngina nsuo yi omo I just say that contaminant na say wanye mai na just say the amount for job man na ni na ithini na boyfriends yem na de jananka VR ne natbo ne nyina ye ka say anka bi si amount for nkotena no kane no emi say na obi eni say nsuo no be cost for say same heaven na o ma kotena no they say no nsuo no abeyi ehwe free ho is Akoye Island because so twem na okoho a this over boat na okoho nti amanfo ne enenam nsuo mu ansa na betina boat no betie tie nsuo mu nsuo so esan se kanye ni ho esan se omuntumi enwa anase omuntumi se nsuo nsi jaso ansa na omandom no I come the and you come the amount for I want to know in sense you enti you know say ban is hard ya amount for everything enya yade eyemuhwe yade no amount for the brebe to me enya na biankai yesu kra ne say amount for benya cholera it's answer in these conditions and na cholera pe epiem sesi aso so amungina amunim cholera
ebe
nipa ba kunya bebre na betumi nya na no no ohwe nipa dodo egu ho ne ye koso na na je say ebia na nyame mane mba ne sa amafo bebere tumi ahwere omo nkwa enti as health service ye ne amafo hofo adwuma other organizations we adwuma ye bomodin biara say you dey see anokwan enti viare e dey nsuo kɔ hɔ individuals with the issue of MPs, the assembly, the
but doc, my name is so. What yeah, doc. Nami Busa say, we so far are buying a response. At say a far baby a man for do material better quick. Baby because say and to omoda bontin to say so we or more you know so yare for any enro medicine near the responses na to say
so as a health service no on say your procedures established that so the this is here immediately as a activation shot here ho aduma as a health service no we do have public health emergency management committee and emergency operation center. And young Kayana, yes, we are starting with operations. So some of our systems, service, automated. It's a unimu dia, and yes, after by train, I'm will be a peaceful. I bet catch so you see. Into no, ya shot here, ya risk assessment.
Okay.
I have risk assessment no so we are. Eso o san hwe nyoma wo hia. Nti nyoma wo hia no. Se ebi any origin mu a no say obua. O frɛ mmoa. Nti ansa na nyoma no be sa ya frɛ mmoa mmoa enam kwan so a eba. Nti ndro no ebi ba me no ka say ziare san ye presentation of medications to the three districts. Cholera and Zoa, as a petrol test kit. As Ansah the being a cholera, as a near testing lab and man chrono. That rapid diagnosis testing and so you will be you mobilize the account. Now, the guitar why is surveillance. The surveillance and say disease surveillance. Oh, shit. Say, Nyarwani di episode we omutia, eso hunu ntem. Uhunu ntem a utumi esi ahokwan say and spread the brain. If you know so alert say ma training say ria ma manfo no. The you see the na community based surveillance volunteer, self facility surveillance focal persons. Omunyina no omuya alert. Na enkosi hwa yani almost I am more capacity building in the coming days. The support is coming. So from where I sit, I can speak about the health response. Now, nobody also is a non-debo as a foyer. And nobody also is environmental health as a foyer. Environmental health means not more. Assembly, you know, it's almost okay. Mobile toilets, as a do in here, as I'm for. Inya umbenuma ebesi yare we ho kwan no so no say omohwe na ekoho me call ho Friday Saturday na military omo I just say omo boat me life jacket me ade omo bo amanfo omo fence omo set up tent supply of mosquito net Veronica buckets amanfo de be from Ansah sanyoma ni nyina no omo asade muhun se omo ye edwuma no na medim se ebeka bia so omo ye nti ye hwe nim se ye nyina no ye be ye edwuma yie se de be ya obia enhwere ne nkwa ewo atreyentem tasie we ya ato Framantem.
Oh, okay. But Doc, Ansah na be kono so far muni any records bia se bia obia yira yehuno ene saa ne manema no munyanya any report biasa, right?
But yenya report biasa.
Okay.
Yenya report sabio bia nipa baako bi efi ba ye di ekire ye investigation no rumors ba saa na ye edwuma ne say immediately no ye say ye investigate ye di ekire de bi amosi nipa ko no ko ye no de omuka ye no ye hu bibia sara nti ni gina he ya me monitor health situation wo trade district no de metumi aka say obia enhwere no npa obia enyira ye ya information abedru ye hosa.
Okay, all right.
A catch one, the baby sa or more my boy in ano, the more my basso. Now you say, Bisa, say, wow, say, Ubet Yabuano, blah, never boy, in a Ghana for a band, no, a handful. Obienia break, assemblies, Obienia break, members of parliament, Obienia abre, Okos Gakofa, the dark room, we say. MP Honorable Yomi on DC Honorable Seth Agi Omina Omunam Benkra Omobwa Amanfo Atreyenchen we are two said the Abeya Obianya Ribianshre and Quantinano Yembom na Yanshe na Obia Apple Mudin Engina a whole year PT.
Dog, Accra FM Citizen Show, ya dasi bebre.
Miso Medamartin, the bomber basso, Moncoso, Namuneduma.
Yeah, that's it. All right, so a tester here on our Facebook page said, and let me remind you, Dr. Senanukwesi Jokoto, Honorary Deputy Director, Public Health, Voter Region Health Services Office. Now, Delake Godswill Logic says, Commander, I'm very sad and can't stop crying. I just completed my 3-bedroom this year. And I started this project about 4 years ago, including 4 acres of maize farmland. As I'm talking to you right now, everything is gone. And this one is coming from a victim on our Facebook page, Dela K. Godswill Logic. Dela, sorry. All right, so Confucius Bajina, a community leader, Central Ton Confucius Bejina. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for having me.
How are you, madam?
Well, I can say I'm fine, but we are managing. I mean, after we have been discussed.
Okay, so quick one. Where is your location right now?
I'm currently on Bakpa Abadue, the island that got submerged. Like, I'm on the island with Kenu currently. And the scene here is very horrible. Like,
is that where you live?
Yes, that's where I live. But we have evacuated to a different community. But as a leader, I wanted to come back to see the state of affairs. And right now, I feel so sad that a lot of our structures have literally gone down. I mean, over 40 structures have collapsed, and the whole community is taken by water.
So how many people evacuated so far?
So far, we've evacuated 1,200 people.
Wow.
The irony of the thing is that we have sacrificed a lot to give electricity to this country. I mean, those of us living by the lakeside, we have sacrificed a lot. And now we are paying back for the sacrifices we made. Again, it's really unfortunate that...
What are you trying to communicate with what you just said?
Say that again.
What are you trying to communicate? You just said that you have sacrificed a lot. What is the meaning?
Yes, so many years back, before this dam was constructed, our people, our grandfathers have to sacrifice their farmlands, their lands, and water to over everything so that the country can have electricity. Now the country is having electricity, and we are still paying back for the sacrifices we did. I mean, as we speak, over 1,200 people have to patch with friends and families. As of now, we have not received resettlement plan. I mean, so we are just lodging with people around. Access to medical health is becoming a challenge. So you can imagine what we are going through.
But one may say that this is something that happens annually. It has become a ritual. So obviously, the people living within those enclaves were aware. And I've heard the VRA leadership saying that they gave you guys notice to evacuate, to leave, but you refuse to heed to their warnings.
You know, at this point, there is no reason to fight with VRA. I wouldn't want us to go into that, but how we can solve the menace we are having now. Yes, VRA gave the notice that they were going to open it, but they should be able to tell us that the quantum of water we are going to release is going to take over this land up to this level. So if you are not able to tell people like that, and you just tell the people that you are going to open the water, I mean, how do I know me that I'm 100 meters away from the river is going to affect me? How do I know me that I am 200 meters? But here, like the case, people are as far as 500 meters. So it's okay. We don't have problem with them opening the dam. But now that they have opened the dam, VRA told us to evacuate, in our case, from the island. And they have not provided boats. They have not provided life jackets.
Wow.
How do you expect 1,200 people to evacuate, to cross a river that is flowing, to cross it with families, with goods, with luggages, and you don't provide all those safety measures? But far away from that, as a community, we are able to do that. Now we are faced with challenges of welfare. How we are going to survive.
Tell us how you are able to do this by evacuating 1,200 people without the support of the government. How are you able to do this?
It took us almost 3 days for us to cross all those people. We used canoes of our own. I myself was in the boat driving people from the island to the nearby community, and we're doing that on our own by the help of the chiefs and then some opinion leaders. In fact, none more came around, but we were expecting that you provide the necessary things we need to evacuate. Imagine if some of us had not taken it in our hands to support people. A lot of people would have been dead.
So meaning obviously most of the people you evacuated were not wearing life jackets, if I'm right.
I can tell you not a single person, because it was not available. And VRA and NADMO has also not provided us in some safety boats for us that, you people, because you're going to evacuate, or they bring a technical person to stay with us throughout the evacuation process. That, no, this canoe you are taking is too small, do this. Nobody was there to do that. They came within 1 hour, they just went around and they gone. But we have moved past that. Now we have evacuated our people. NADMO came in, they brought some relief items, some bag of rice, some buckets and the rest. But certainly you know that cannot be enough for 1,200 people that have been evacuated. And so we are trying as a community, as a people, to support ourselves. And I don't know how far we can survive again.
So which means there was a communication between your leadership and the community that you evacuated the people.
Yes. And
what was their response? How are they receiving you guys?
They were very cooperative. I mean, it's not that they were cooperative, because the water actually came into the community at night. So imagine if they were not cooperative, we would have lost life. But they were very... See, people got out of their rooms, and within 30 minutes, the room collapsed.
Wow.
So they were very cooperative. They listened to us, they listened to our chiefs, and we were able to mobilize everybody from their rooms first. Before we looked for outboard motors, people used canoe paddles, and we tried conveying them for 3 good days.
Now, what is the current situation of those?
The current situation is that everybody is safe. Nobody is dead.
But I'm talking about food, medicine, clothes, because obviously you guys will lose some of your stuffs like clothes and other things. So how are they managing?
Rather, we don't have an option. As we speak now, we are dying it. We need food items, we need clothes, we need mattresses, and then healthcare, because 1,002 people add a whole community coming to another community. Sanitation issue is not a problem. We don't have toilet facilities. mattresses for people to sleep on, food items, because people's jobs have been lost. We are farmers. Our farms have been taken over by the water. And how else are we going to get food to eat? And so we are still battling with that. Community leaders. NAMO came in, they brought some items that mostly, 5 kilograms of rice that have been prepared by a family within 2 days. So we are still hungry.
But I want to understand something. Is this the first time you guys are encountering such situation?
It happened in 1963.
19 what?
63.
63.
It has been a very long time.
Oh, okay.
So, but the magnitude was not this way. And so we are thinking, is it that they have accumulated more and then they release, or what? Because it happened in 1963 and it didn't take even half of the island.
Okay, so you want to tell us that after the 1963 incident, you guys have never experienced something like this?
Oh, no. We have not.
But I learned that this spelling exercise by the VRA is an annual thing. They do it annually, right?
Yes, so it is done annually, and it doesn't affect us because you only see that the water level has increased a bit, and that's all. But this time, it has actually entered the community. It has. If you go to Sodakota, the Greco powerhouse is in water. Komboni Senior High School is in water. They have to close down the school. So it hasn't happened this way before. Even though VRA used to open the dam, it has not had effect this way as it happened since 1963.
I'm even short of words anyway. But so what is the way forward now? What are you guys doing? I know you have been talking to the NADMO. I've heard that the president is going to visit other locations. I don't know that of where you are, but what is the way forward? Bajina. Hello? Okay, I'm saying you're losing a kakra, but situation no, a little bit sad, minim enyema de koma de minim, but o se emu kakra bi ene empa kakra omo mattress kakra bi a omo de omuti ebeto so. It's so sad. Many workers say, yes, we are dealing with this disaster, but I've heard about so kind for also. Okay, so Bajina is back now. Bajina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so quick one. What is the way forward? What are you guys expecting from the government? What are you expecting from NADMO?
Yes, we are expecting a couple of short-term measures. One is settlement. There be arrangements so that our people can sleep comfortably. We'll be talking about that. Then we need foodstuffs. Now, the people here are farmers. And so I'm expecting a great quick supplies for the people so that they can start livelihood activities. We are questioning about students on that. And as we speak, those students are not going to school. And
so which means, Bajina, which means you guys don't even know when you are returning to your land, right?
Oh, no.
Right?
I'm on the land now in the water level.
You say?
I'm on island now in the water level. Even I'm not, I don't think 2 or 3 months time we can even come. So the stakeholders would ask either we are or we not. But up now, students are going to come get a smart of something for us. I'm so glad. We have toilet facilities. We need health supplies. We have to survive. Oh, mother, we need to eat.
But then again, is your host town ready to give you guys lands to farm on it for the meantime?
Yes, it's a traditional area with different communities. So that is just one Bakwa community to another Bakwa community. So the area. So they allow, if the government can provide farm food for farmers, quickly start something. I'm sure 2 or 3 months time. Not to give
anyway, your line keeps on breaking, but I think the information you have given to us is enough. Accept our sympathies from Class Media Group Accra FM. We are very sorry, and I promise you that we stand with you guys any day, anytime. We are with you guys.
We thank you. Please, I want to use your medium to know their names. Let's stand by our people. We need food items, we need relief items. Those who can come to our aid should come out and help us, because it's of not our fault that this happened. We actually suffered some years to be able to give light to the country Ghana. And after so many years, our sacrifice is paying us back again the negative. There's only good that people come to us.
All right.
We don't feel medicated.
We are grateful for speaking to you. Thank you so much. Yeniaba Bejina, community leader was Central Town. But Mamine, Honorable Samuel Okujeto Black MP for North Town and ranking member on Foreign Affairs Committee, encoding Komo. Honorable Kwaba.
Yo, many major so Idiaboko.
Nyamia dum ya had your boko, but what dear. Yebusa se boko enye ye because yenim sem when ya break akra. And you know voter region is my second home. My first home mpo. And ye nyina ye ma yako. Ye ma busuafo nyina yako. Honorable, the current situation was North Town say.
Yo, medase my men damwase men da cry was men da tea for nas although we since this man-made disaster yada munyana nyamin shramo on behalf of the chiefs and people of North Town, we are eternally grateful. The current situation, Minia, I wish met to me akase situation no are improving in Siono, I recede now, so that is not the report. Over North Town is here. The situation is totally out of control. More communities have been affected. Communities do wanna, as I say, evacuate. And Rana just say, they were Fujoku, evacuate affected communities or more Klamada Boy, Alabonu, as I say, evacuate your munina Bafujoku, or more Dofo, Agovama, Dofo Adidome, almost as I say, evacuate your munina and Dranajo. And the situation worse. More communities have been affected. Say camps now, shelter, and safe havens now, established. Started with about 4. Now, so will you believe, say, it drew 19.
Whoa.
19 camps established. And you can just imagine. It should tell you, sir, the situation is really getting out of control. Now, many occasions say, Ubaha in Sioniha, Ghana Water Company, actually, you need electricity. So, electricity, you're here because ECG4, I explain it, say, one disconnected light now, that lead to mass electrocution. They say, substations and poles do akoshe in Sionemo. Enti omon sheye na se omon disconnect here and the electricity out of the wires now. Na the disaster for Abba.
Nti yene omo ati asiese it's better to be safe than to be sorry. Nti omo disconnect power to many parts of the constituency. Mene okasa say in Siono arise to levels are yen since maybe the MP, since my baha as a baby, my grandmother time of war life, yente bibi sada. I mean, this is unprecedented. Matisse ebi ewa cry say, oh, but say spillage where every year they are yet
and kai what and kame baby busa no.
When the ordinary spillage it happens every year. The ACC say no, a year unprecedented.
And honorable, what happened? A year day.
Yo, a year VRF4 and Water River Authority. Once omuna manage Akosombo Dam and Bond Dam. And yeti ho and a statement or more issue on the 12th of September. Say omo beye controlled spilling. That is a statement. Google at for Google on the home statement. Say control spilling. And we should be on the alert. That's all. Minia control spilling and nona edi asem we nyina aba. Enti a disaster we no enye natural disaster enye say oh insio na to ana say hurricane be ana tsunami be ana esi eye VRA engineers or more explain say water levels no awa Akosombo and Akpong drew baby a omo anspele omo and discharge and omo anyi insioni bi and freedom the more dam no best say and it will lead to a bigger disaster. But the question, the fundamental question yenyina ye bisa has a VRA for omo nkwana na omo nim say spillage where omo ba be ye no enye asem kitwa enye the usual ordinary spilling a few levels of water, but we know a massive, a historic. And we were expecting say and come engage believe say as a member of parliament for this area the most affected constituency. As I speak to you, before and now during VRA for Omo framing, they have not engaged us.
Wow.
In the same way, Omo engage key stakeholders. And they took us by surprise. In China, the devastation has been so massive. I mean, do you think, sir, Ankayenim says, sir, in show where Omo baby reducing the levels at Akosombo and Pong? Ankayenima, Anka Ujin say, your betina has ama your properties in say. I mean, who in his right senses will do that? I mean, say people's life investment or more life savings, they're all they have. I mean, look, there are many families. I mean, look, this we are estimating, say, over 10,000 people have been affected directly.
Wow.
And Dudwana to me even one pin common to me because they were running for their dear life. And pressure na insuno headepano. Meaning a win Jonia. Because a bubu was a bubu a dying. Look, the number of houses are losing hundreds of houses.
So honorable, I minim nimdianya media amount. When you read statements, minim say we would go beyond even the statement. With a statement VR4 issue, you know. Who say na omunim the magnitude, the power, yes, sooner day ba na say na omunim say the normal annual rituals normal yenuan so man taking your more serious. Which is which?
What kind of statement not carefully? I believe sir na omunim. But with all of this, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt until say I see strong evidence. In any other jurisdiction, and by now, there will be a national inquiry. Omunyana Omo Viere for Omo Viere, the CEO all the way to the engineers, they will be answering questions. I mean, elsewhere, when disasters of this nature, self-induced, man-made, when they occur, people are made to answer serious questions. They appear before. And you see, the advantage of an inquiry is not just to expose and punish people, but it's also to lead to reforms so that Ochinano Yanko repeated the same thing and even cause more havoc. It is not about witch hunting. It's about learning lessons, reforming, and building strong institutions. I will want to see a probe into this whole matter. So far, Metie VR4, and they are engaging in a lot of blame game. Almost to say, a Ghana Meteorological Agency na who say this year, very strongly, and they were taken by surprise. Because you see, if between the VRA and the Ghana Meteorological Agency, if they had planned properly and they had done their work well now, Anka, they could have started this spillage ABR from May, June, July, into Nkakra. Anka disaster we ANC. But Omo China last minute, and now Omo I mean, they just let it gush out, let the water gush out, and I mean Omo Bieku Yesusa, without looking at the impact, the cost to life and property. And clearly, no, people haven't done their work well. And you see, it's so unfair. Already, no, Minia, Yebeka no Krepa. These are communities who gave out their land. Minana mo, ena, omo Okan Kwame Nkrumah address when he was commissioner of Akosombo Dam in 1965. Or the Voltarians for us, and all of those who gave up their land for Akosombo Dam, so that yenyana yebetumianya electricity. And we share the vision of Akosombo. It goes even beyond Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah's vision was for it to power the whole of Africa, particularly West Africa. Up to this point, countries like Togo, Benin, Omunyana, they benefit from Akosombo. When Akosombo was commissioned, you had representatives from all of these countries excited, said they will benefit from this. Into such a major sacrifice. As I say, I can confirm to me at Ton Edia Sika. And I say, business, maybe some some farm or what have you. Many Okasas say a lot of them have not been compensated. Via reform, one Kasa, they admit said many families have not yet been compensated, and they have even a committee that is still looking at those matters. If people have sacrificed this much to give all of us a national asset, up to now, Akosombo and Akpong, and it is my people, Bakpons were my people in Fujoku, Togoma. They had to be relocated.
Yeah, and what crowd because of Bridge FM into the Minimsa enclave Numina.
Exactly. I made the power. So you know the terrain. Yeah. They had to give up their land. And Omu donate as I say way. Meaning electricity we pay like everybody. Anka some country, some other jurisdiction, because because of sacrifices are more mobenya electricity no craft free, montia light bill. Insio mobenya insio free. And I say at least even will connect you. Will you believe that some of the communities still don't even have electricity? Some don't have Yes. I mean, and you mean I'm MP in the lobby and the President Mahama Bresso, and we got some good coverage, but we still don't have 100%. Will you believe it? These are enormous sacrifices our people have made. They don't even have full compensation as I speak to you. And the least you can do, show them some respect, value their lives. You are coming to do such a major spillage, unprecedented, a historic one. And all you do is just open your valves. No serious engagement, no community sensitization. Won't fret the MPs of the area. I've been talking to my colleagues. All the MPs. We're not called. As we speak, we haven't even been engaged. I think MPs, yes, we are going to demand an emergency meeting from the VRA management. I mean, where do you see this kind of, is this leadership? Where do you see this? Why do you treat people as if omunye nipa? And I say omunye Ghana for. Meanwhile, look at the contribution. But for these people, but for my people, where will even the VRA itself be? Where will all these people occupying top positions be? Look, we are building a nation. Obia air contributing. Obia hunya or minor. Let us not do these things that will just needlessly annoy people and agitate, people. Look, as I go around, why do people disrespect us like this? Are we not human beings in our own country? Look, what has happened now? I insist that VRA must be made to take the blame. They must pay full compensation. We are not going to take it lying down. All the houses they have destroyed, people's properties, people's businesses. Look, a young man, Andrew Mikor Fujuku, he showed me his fish pond, not over 20,000 fingerlings.
Oh.
This only business. I say, how do I pay my school fees?
20,000 is huge,
20,000 fingerlings, yes.
Very huge.
And he said that, look, everything I have, I even sold my land to invest in this business. If they had told him, say, there's going to be spillage on this scale, he will have moved, say, fish pond there, you can move it. You can move it to a higher ground or to some other location. It's not like Obia, Abia, phobia onto me in movie land, no? So he just has to count his losses. But he could have relocated. There's so many people, so many businesses. Now look at what is going on. We will insist that there has to be compensation. If VRA does not show that they are going to compensate, what we will do is say, court, we'll bring a class action. Because look, enough is enough. We are not going to allow some people to just violate the rights of Ghanaians. Bonnie Bennett.
Now, Honorable Pacho, government
just had good intentions. They donated their land, so that we can all have electricity, we can industrialize, and we can create jobs, and we can all be happy in our country. And then you just treat the people with utter contempt. I think.
Honorable, government response, NADMO response, to say munyam wakakra.
You may share NADMO boss in the field. And it was clear they are quite overwhelmed. And we are still waiting for them. Initial donation it was just rice and oil, which we thank them for, but clearly adequate. It is not enough. At the presidential level, no, to be honest with you, my name in call for the way our President Akufo-Addo will handle this matter. It's very appalling. We are not happy at all.
Why?
Other incidents, not even close to this scale of disaster, even in other countries. Obe issue statement. No, nkasa. Mekai one in France. Sorry, biana airship. Obia in nobody lost their properties and all of that. Collection cry was not affected, but he issued a statement. Is it because that is France and adding? You don't get it. Into such a major humanitarian crisis in your own country. At that same time, now he was commenting about Israel. So or supporting Israel or Israeli. How about the people? And you see, many people talk as though this crisis no one region. And I say clearly they don't know Ghana. A lot of people sending messages, contributing on radio. The Volta River goes beyond the Volta region. Mineo Kasase say Minia, Esojamanfo in the eastern region have been affected. Adanfo in the Greater Accra region have been affected. I was just watching videos from Adan Paramount Chief. Adan, their main chief, his place is the palace is flooded. That's in the Greater Accra region. It's not just North Town, Central Town, South Town, Keta, Anglon, and K2 South. Anopawe, Ninya text messages from Nkofua Omowo Ashanti region, the Sechura Front.
Sechura Front place, yeah,
it's affect you also.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kwabena Donko.
Yeah.
Well, from me and they say, Poo in the Bono area is also affected. It is Volta River. It's about 500 miles. You know, this is not just maybe one constituency. Me and an off tone for Namompe or Mwasama. Think about it. This is a national disaster. And I'm surprised the president was standing by Israel and not standing by his own people, you know, who he has, you know, first responsibility to. Yes, you can stand by whoever, Israel, France. We know that you like that international image, no problem. But how about your own people? Doesn't charity begin at home? Shouldn't you be seen standing with your own people? Imagine, say, if the president had issued a solidarity message. Imagine what he would have done. Anka Obia, imagine what such a message would do. NADMO 4 will sit up, VRF 4 will sit up. All this lackadaisical attitude. Obia, even corporate Ghana, people will rally. But when about the year to say, oh, ABR, some people will think, because unless you come here now, you see the media report. Ubejin say, oh, ABR is not a serious matter.
Yeah.
But and they are to say, also, Obebaha, and once again, the things they do, also, but Northtown, the MP's office has not been formally informed. But, well, we've heard it in the radio, from the radio, say, Obebaha, and yeah, say, Yohana, yeah, relief support. In the next few minutes, I'll launch what I'm calling the MP's mobile relief caravan. Nyamiadom Yatumi are mobilizing a lot of rice, maize, sugar, mosquito nets, blankets, cooking oil, mackerel, canned fish, and sanitary pads, all kinds of key essentials, including medicine in drawer, because particularly senior citizens or more journal, a lot of them left their medications behind. And you will list, you have to make a list from the kind of medications they were taking. And you taught about 4 o'clock, and you better launch this relief caravan.
Wow. God bless you.
You have to mobilize the pickups. A day near Manoba call all the 19 camps across the constituency.
But I hope so. Only colleague MPs so more share notes, more share information as to how mobile me. Because never be how ubenya na o colleague no nyanya bi. Ebi a wono so benya na nyanya bi so that mobile me share.
Exactly.
And
even Ochinakra mini Ghana Medical Association for Akasa year outreach, because the next thing, as I say, you're watching out for a potential public health crisis. When you say in Siono arise, minia in Siono ako all kinds of corners. And say
it's sad.
Cemeteries, mortuaries, refuse dumps, public toilets, sewage systems, and in Siono. But for this crisis, no, in Siono and Krofo no, in Siono or Modini Diane, they buffing it and all of that. But now it is contaminated. Into young Shia, Nasa Yam provided, particularly as Ghana water or much in Siomono. If we are not careful and people are forced to just depend on this for survival, it will lead to cholera, it will lead to typhoid. All kinds of communicable diseases will be on the loose. And disease there, COVID, where it started from China, the whole world, was affected. You may think that, water region is far away, but one share, if we don't manage these things well, and we have an epidemic, nobody knows how far it will go in our country. In many medical associations for Akasa, and they've been very generous, or more donated medications, and my doctors. Almost 6 doctors will be arriving, and my accommodation arrangements. They will be with us, going through the various camps to screen the people, do public education, make sure that our people are in good shape. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health. So this should not be seen as just an isolated issue, because if there's a cholera outbreak, a typhoid outbreak, we all know the dangers, the epidemiological, threats. It will just balloon out of proportion, and the whole country will be affected. I would like to see some interventions in that regard.
Okay.
To me, as me this threat, but we are doing our best. And,
great. But Ansah
have been really helpful. More and more media organizations, the way are more launching campaigns and all of that. Because Nkofo Frame also Omuti will show they are following the broadcast, and a number of churches, Catholic Church Afresa Omoba, the Church of Latter-day Saints almost Afresa Omoba, Ghana Tankers Association almost Aframe a few minutes ago say Ochina a boy Levina almost Baba Abeye donation. Inte me pese me da omunyina ase. Even if we are not seeing leadership at the top, at least amongst the people, the people have not lost their humanity.
Now finally, Honorable, Obi Busa said, Omo voter ID cards is Swahili, because now you have about over 10,000 affected victims, and Ubu Owana can went me for pin. Obviously, Omo lose Omo voter ID cards. What happened?
That is a reality. That's a reality. Voter ID card has been lost. National ID card. So, once we are going around writing the list of items that people have lost, and I can confirm, virtually all of them are indicating, they have lost their voter ID card and their national ID card. It be allusion to certificates, or degrees, and all of that. It's just devastating. But I think, at this point, the priority is keeping them alive, keeping body and soul together, making sure some medications.
All right.
When we go past this phase, we will have to appeal to the various institutions, Electoral Commission, National Identification Authority. They need to take all these affected constituencies as a special case. Na omo assign a card no fufro for our constituents. It's a matter we will take up. I will speak to this very boldly in Parliament, because you're very disenfranchising for, and people will not also have access to all kinds of public services, particularly Omo Luzi, Omo Ghana card. That certainly is a major issue. But once assembly one ko come here, na Omaka say, okuye to a black one, Nikofu wu omu ni ediane. Now so or Jane or no any vote how he can be re-elected in 2024. It's a delicate matter. Time and count this issue, because mischief makers can just take you out of context and say in Kofu or no dear
or a
vote how he can be re-elected. List. We are making sure, we are collecting the data into all those who are losing their properties generally, including all these national IDs. We are taking the records until later on, when we make sure people have relief, or money or mundro, or more blankets, they are at a safe place, they've been resettled. Then we shall raise these matters. But yes, you are right, sir. It is an issue that must be of concern to the country.
Okay, Honorable, Area Yadasi. I cry from that.
Mr. Medasi.
Na ye ka say we dey ye ma ye nyina ye ho yakọ. Ye ma ye ho nyina ye ho yakọ. Ye that's pa. All right. Okay. All right, so that's it live on Accra 100.5 Citizen Show, and my man for apologies and my Mr. Samuel Agri, General Secretary of my Food Beverage Association of Ghana. My main for apologies, Emmanuel. Then to Honorable Techiado, Head of Communications for Aboso Kinds Papers Dealers Association Ghana. I'm very sorry. I'm say yenina adiato yeni. It's so sad, very sad. And Saturday nanajo, na me drive it through Dabala. Me adidome back to Dabala. Agbozume and Ajonomesaiba back from there. I drove all the way back down to Sugakope in the night, and it's a very sad situation. And yet, you know, that enclave no more. And baby, almost every weekend I'm there. It's like my second home. Volta region is like I used to me fee anytime. So kwana no bebre owa. Me ni mwebi okra me driver na de sana ma bra dua bi ase wonua bi ase wo na eja akra akra tena se kakra da
akusha mpanifu
onu mpanifu akasa kakra na asana yasa am ye homene so ato aso. So it's so sad. I'm so sad. And to where the monfan cheme pa other issues no ye but Ghana from Mutie, there are other pressing issues. So you're not so a disaster. Just imagine one day we'll wake up and Aboso can say, look, enough is enough. We are done with a Agedi. Where do we go from here? Beverage companies, where do we go from here? And one must say, Rezi, me here education. Uncle Agri, Uncle Akwaba.
Thank you.
Mpacho boko there. And you were Techi Akwaba.
Commander.
Good. But Uncle, Mami Mbusao, anyway, quick one. Taxes on beverages, no. Say it started first May.
It started first May. Policy in Bayern. The implementation started, I think, somewhere in March. Then somewhere along the line in September. Musankoka said. On Bessan implemented, so there was so much confusion all over. Now, so communication by now.
Yeah,
it was as if implementation hasn't been done, and they were going to do it in 1st September. You know, Omuka says 1st September. No, obviously. Making such statements, and everybody will then have to also react towards it.
Almost 1st September.
1st September.
What?
Say, on may implement excise duty. Then you ask yourself, then what has been implemented earlier? So,
Mpacho Nyabotre. You have normally 20% excise duty by. That's on beverages.
Yeah.
And yes, sir.
Yeah.
And on Mobile say. On be implementing it in May, right?
Yeah.
May.
Yeah.
But I hear Sawoka's implementation is starting in March.
In March. That was when the policy, directives as to how we should go.
Okay. So from that time, whether March, whether May, whether March, almost start implementation, which you guys and you say you are okay, but only only the obey.
You have to go ahead
and no more be catch them say 1st May, 1st September. Yeah, almost I implement it.
Until then, the confusion was Nyamo implement it earlier.
And for the issue statement,
Jerry.
I'm issuing that bay.
I'm issuing in August, I think 20, either 15.
Can we get a copy?
My phone is off. I won't charge you.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's okay. That's okay.
Now, I also issued a statement saying, whatever you implement and bring on board, the consumers are the one going to suffer. Because obviously, you cannot bring in a policy that seeks to raise revenue, and then the people will then sit and watch.
Yeah.
Definitely, the manufacturers, the importers will then have to pass it on to the consumer. And you know, when you make certain statements now, you have to be very careful. And any your friends saying tax policy be out the no, we need to be very careful because the culture government since 2022, say what you are bringing on board will create a whole lot of problems, especially when they said they were doing a total withdrawal of the benchmark value. So we told him in that that was in May last year 2020.
Last year May, yeah.
And omuma partial withdrawal no. So 30% was gone. Then they said in December they were going to do full recovery. And we said, look, when this thing takes off, what is going to happen is that imports will be curtailed. It's not because you are curtailing import to ensure, say, our
local industry,
local industries, will survive, and then also your friends saying, and yes, to survive, for them to also break through the market. Now you look at the CD against the dollar, so that it could be maintained. I just said no. The issue that industries are contending with is not the import, it's the cost of borrowing, the electricity that you are putting on the friends industry as a premium levy or some tariffs, then water, and then the taxes that you are bringing on board. And if we need to do anything positive for the industry, we should look at the cost of borrowing. These things that I've mentioned, say to me, industry who be here, then the import, when it has to remain where it is, air values now, then you let it be. But you went ahead and said 100% recovery. The benchmark, what it seeks to do, is that when you bring in something that is $1, the government takes it $1 and sell it back to you at $2. That is all the interpretation I can give on the benchmark.
And say no, new moka say started 1st September and I started
1st September. No, the implementation was done earlier. Now, the confusion that came, accessible products, soda, the water, and were enforced. Now, when it comes to the
a man a course
through.
Okay.
Into enforcement things like fruit juices. Muka said the baby on board. No. Now we are still at a stalemate whether they are going to enforce the fruit juices being affixed with stamps or not, to show say they've really paid their taxes.
Okay.
The taxes has been paid, but what gives you the evidence? I've been paid. I've paid my taxes, and therefore I need to show. Government will say, fine, Nigeria, then affix this stamp or do this or do that. But you see, things like fruit juices, the way they are packed, if we are not careful, either you incur more losses and you government you pay, or the one who imported the product will have to pay. And who is going to do that? I'm not going to accommodate what you have caused, the disaster that you caused to my product. You expect me to pay. They will pay, and I've warned them. If you go ahead and do the affixing of the stamp, the people have paid as you want it to be done. But if you still want to go ahead and affix any form of stamp, the breaking of the curtains, putting them back and affixing those stamps and all that, even the conveyor belt that these things will have to be unloaded before they are offloaded, it's a whole lot of cumbersome process, which you cannot. And the warning we are giving is that, look, with these fruit juices and other things that you are saying, they are going to affix the stamps and all that, take it off. Now, the excise duty that they are paying at 20%, I'm telling you, it has created a lot of problems.
I see.
Local production.
Yeah.
Or more, that you have raised the values. Now, the cost itself is also showing in the cost implications now. And we are saying, say, look, if it comes to that area now, reconsider what you have done. not because they say people are producing sodas that are harming the human body, and therefore we need to impose taxes on them. And the question is, when you impose a tax, would that sickness or whatever that you are anticipating go off? It doesn't. It will be there. And that sickness, whatever tax that you take, cannot even go to solve that problem. So the question is, we find a way as to how we can reduce certain things in the production of our setup, beverages. Then you engage the stakeholders, the manufacturers themselves, and then you sit down and look at ABCD that they can do. If you think the sugar level is very high, at what percentage can we do? So that when we are producing the beverages at this percentage, whatever you put in there comes with a value. So which one do you want to go for? The higher value or the lower value?
Metese Anope, one of the radio stations now, Oka say, more companies need to be afford the app.
Okay.
Is that true?
It's not folding up, but then they've laid off workers.
I see.
And if it continues like this, then obviously, as we are moving forward, if you do the calculations and you realize that you are going off the track, the best thing to do is to continue laying off workers until such a time.
So more figure as to within my industry, any padodo more lay or more off.
If I tell you so far, around the friends saying the whole setup now, we're going to around 300 workers that has been laid off. Some of them even, let me say, it's going within the thousands. Within the thousands, because it's not only one company that has one way or the other has laid off staff.
Obviously, we say as a calipo akosro.
Calipo in the market is selling at 6 cities, 4 cities, 5 cities, and 6 cities. When we call warehouses now, ubenyano, and as a retail land, no, ubenyan 5 cities, 50%, and 6 cities. And then the retail ranges between 4 cities, 80% and all that.
I see.
You see, but we in your politics are saying, when the president was using the calipo to make that, your friend saying, campaign or it was 1 city, 20% at that time.
1 city, 20%.
1 city, 20%.
And now we are buying it 5, 6 cities.
5 cities, 80%. And when it happens like that, almost volume of production.
So percentage say over 300%.
It's almost about about 63, almost 400.
Percent, add up.
Yeah.
From 120, 1 city, 20% to 6 cities. Wow.
So that tells you the effect in our industry.
500%.
And your friend is saying, manufacturer and there was a time that they were complaining. You see, the very moment people cannot afford, your volume of production also goes down. And we sounds am I still going to be in business in the next 5 years or the next 4 years? What is going to happen if we don't change certain things to make sure people can really afford what they are producing? People can afford those things, and therefore they will continue producing. But if the prices are going up and the materials are becoming so expensive for them to buy to produce, then obviously what will happen is either what you have produced, anticipating that consumers will patronize, and if it doesn't happen, then your stock will then have to go to the waste bin. So then at your own cost, government will not give you any compensation. And the mix of production, consumer perception, consumer demands, and this has become a burden onto manufacturers. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
There are people that go in there to buy fruit juices or in smaller packs and for their children to go to school. Anopa, Nibano, the breakfast and kwan will cost him almost about 10 cities.
Yes.
And so Kwakoto, your friend saying, biscuits. The biscuit that we used to buy at 50 cities, 50 pesos. Now we are buying at 2 cities.
Hey, crackers.
The minimum 2 cities. That's the minimum.
That's the minimum. Okay, minimum.
Yeah, the minimum because we have variants baby or no more costing you different.
Kwame, Utobi biscuit ni bi. Utobi, what are we are not talking about?
So, you look at this one and buying the pack of juice and a bottle drinks now, and also Ubeton bear 5 cities, 80 pesos. If you cry 6 cities, Ubeton no, I can't. And some sign I'm on feeding fee of no less than 10 cities because schools in Nobia and charge 5 cities bill.
Hey,
so I there no. That morning now Obani equal school no. That is the ohieni no or no the income here very low.
Teachers say we no they are deaf from cry.
The income near very low no. That morning you are spending around 30 cities for your child. So if you have 3 children going to school, how can you afford for them to go?
And baby 90.
And then go out there, nebisa school teachers no. Say nkwala ni bi be school anopa no omu didi ana. So then the concentration in the classroom becomes a problem. So are there no. As much as they are suffering on the other side, their effect, is also having a rippling effect on industry.
But many sure say the government is ready to listen to you guys.
You see,
because minimum crown men who trust studio up 2-3 times, yeah. But it seems like
in some way I can say, look, it has come to a time. The very things that you introduce, trying to better off the Ghanaian situation, has become worse off. Businesses are going to collapse because of those policies. Coming 2024, it's not too late. The budget has not been read. Let us sit down, look at all the taxes that you have put in place, the policies that you put in place that have brought about all these things, and try to take some off. You see, when people spend, that is when government raises the needed revenue. But if we cannot spend, how do you get the money that you are talking about? And the very first point occurs say, I will go for 100% total recovery of your friends benchmark value. We said, look, that will spell doom for this country. Because if import goes down, you are not going to raise the money that you need. Who are there and they say, matutu taxes in him. So when you are not able to import the 10 containers, your 2 containers will pay for the 10 containers. That is what they have done. And this is not the way to go. Allow the things to flow, and then the money that you want to raise will be there for you. And we need not to be having a very serious issue before you come to think of it, say, oh, then let me do this. And unfortunately, when you call IMF, they've also put in place certain criteria we need to meet before. And if you're asking for tax reduction now, how are you going to do that? So, because there are certain policies that is at your doorstep, which is forcing you to pass on this hardship to the Ghanaian. And if they are doing it, and the other side said, do it, if you don't do it, I will not give you the money, then they will be forced to do what they are doing.
Which means, IMF Johnson. So, which means,
they can do.
How?
You see, tax collection, it's not only few people who pays the collection. There are so many gray areas. I implement here a day more. Ebeba. I feel so at the end of the day, reducing some of the taxes for the people to be able to afford certain things. When you do that, now the needed revenue now will come to you, because the people can then afford, because things are cheaper. Food should be cheaper and all that. But when they are expensive, how do we survive? Before we started this issue of made in Ghana rice, we should promote the rice, and then at that time, Ghana made in Ghana rice bag 28 Ghana cedis, 5 kilo.
5 kilo.
Today, a bit ton 120, 150.
Made in Ghana rice.
Made in Ghana rice now you promote here can once and go out there and see how the value has gone up.
So which means a foreign dianocra
almost into the very problem that we seek to solve no has become a burden onto us.
A problem now be a problem. Solution to the problem no.
Has become a problem onto us. So
that's crazy.
We want to expand our local production. But how do we do that? And you know, you need to give some leverage to the local industries so that your friend is saying expanding the taxation system in other areas will have the leverage here and then you will collect the money from here. Yeah. But if you're asking us to pay more, what do we do?
Baba, Messia Babio, Kaki SL says snacks plus feeding fee plus transport is about 100 Ghana cedis a day. Bobie, it no be small joke. Gadri Freeman says, Commander, we are really suffering with these cakes, drinks, and other stuffs. It's terrible. Okay, so Vivian no points here. Daniel Labi is also here. Now, Mami Mongra Aboso Kain and Yama Bobo Fruabano, Metesena communications director now a year Kumasi Ashanti region during the weekend. And Taji, I don't know Aboso Kain. Last week, you say, last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks. And I'm more showdown 2 hours. And I'm say AJ showdown. But we have heard say more things are coming. What is it? Can't say.
Maminchia, what's here for Maminchia? Washafona, Minchia, Jamalisto, and me Brapanyoti. Hey, Commander, Miko Kumaseno, Ampa. I say, Jerry Fonny, the Yamabi, the ye, Jodifona, ye bonjoso. Na I say menu kasai in 40 you remember sin store no ene obusu kan
say see
omo letter 14th of August omo te wo ena ye kasai
say
am no kasai omo te wo
say
yi omo te wo e wo city light udu city light na kom kakra bia omo te store na no
store back pa na stores
on the store na 4 e no omo te wo nti say obi ba na obeto ade a na a VAT receipt no omo twa picture no omo de call omo twa picture no omo de call
san omo de other stores
ni yes san omo de omo san omo de and in the my ye press conference 2 weeks ago say
wow
some compliance no so omo enjaya a ye ni omo be che ne nyonyo omemu ha because omo de kokuma say last year na mistake omo ye ne say omo ampam omo no omo atimi anka acho omo so omo ntwa so no omo kan say ya suspended the worst suspension na me say me see de be amempe yentwam no bi ahoto no suspension no almost ada this year biom e na be wi aboso council no etini am about 2 weeks no ya antehwe free government ho a ye be dey ye beto stores mu
yeah
etino last week na commissioner Edward Jambra in charge of domestic revenue I think say domestic tax revenue division obe respond no CTFM say ye ni hwesi ana ye hayen say ya the papa anka ye nyesa ade no nti omo de mo dwa no mbeye
but I think say the comment is fair
there be it's an insult to us that na hwe beverages ya no hwe ni man kura hwe passage omo to port edwede for hwe di wa to port kwa me see the whole the whole Africa Ghana ni to tax any product esino Africa country bia date na Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana Cote d'Ivoire versus carriers na baninya do na Cote d'Ivoire almost Ghana is difficult to do business. Omunya bia ne Cote d'Ivoire. Nso o kan se me no. Say o tete tax no so a obenya more revenue. But so umie mu say na ahin na obenya umi to target. Na okum kakra bi pe. Iti na make beverage for say me no am ka say na nka Wednesday na e demonstration no. Police for na e ko shi omo no.
Wednesday mu ko demonstration.
By a postpone because almost date na mo omo. Na demonstration we mo ni bebini. Nti ompa e chaw. You see any problem. You dey ko say on the first November 1st Wednesday any eco demonstration no stores nya betu oboso kan ye ka kire mo mbe no madwane demonstration no so mutu stores because ni nyina import duty ni nyina tax ni nyina customs
adekro no
se ma andwane ya omo de bedimu ni nyina ndwane nya baako ye de ye ko ye mom signal ye be mom super showdown because ya abuso ka for e for a long time sankrofo we no omo fa enidie ni ebu ema abuso ka for Argentina aban omobi loan ye unji sto omobi ye no say wo de akronfo bi begu ye stores because what ben you be free so ya roba so ye den yo you be free 2 supervisor ba ko na ye 3
beverages for no omo bi
well India they are already there
omo to mo kon so
say omo start here no they almost omo compliance
vigilation
way you know they bring in their personnel to check your sales for the day into whatever that you give out, you know, with the other till the receipt is recorded, just to know how much you are selling for the day and how much you were declaring before. Into no way and sana, after you know, at the end of the day, you know, they know how much to expect from you. Into no, they don't mind whether your sales have gone down or your friends saying that day you did not even open the shop. Once it has been recorded, say, utu 100 cedis. They are expecting every day biano.
Hey, in the meton, manton, yato, yanto. Omoje.
Na oduma do kwa mo san ka bi onu. Enye omo say omo hwe obukuma na say wo business a wo ye no e bia wo register na say wontu ya na say omo hu so wontu ya. Omo be hweta mo start say wo business from 2013 no. Omo back date na ma. No omo bob omo ke kan sisi ni a de abro en say saskani ne say wotua. Ne say ye ko share mo Octagon building no. Sa eme building. Ye ko share mo me ka trom say mo yesa na e be treat as a criminals. No visa go any edi. Catch him straight or you offended by me catch no. Because commander I say dwedifo no de bia me ka say dwedifo mpedifo mo di eni mo no. Om na mo di ye hwamo.
Ade
omo pe yen ko tran round table ho. Na ye mom seti na ya suspend ni abetena se. No be afa phone no afre flash afa say de okura na ye mempe catch no munjai. Na wa frɛ omunyai every disrespect. Ade ni nkoyi a muntwam. The word is a muchum a no be able to say muchum. Your position they are making it clear say GI for no omo fa public statement.
Yeah.
No mo fa bra mo ti say omo twam. Na association na organ no be anya copy to office. So omo the board na bia e betime gya so de omo court. So omo ka so omo suspend ya omo sim dia ba. Sa na omo the year from last year Kumasi e be duende. Omo dia ba no. Eti na say aboso kan on the 1st of November. All shots will go down.
Not just a more first show down no negotiations am no ye no man
fe buokura my young friend am be transport no money abeka. They don't care oh because they are so kentra. Ni ma sisan oh. Leaders na mo association wana na omo ye sade no. They are no more there oh. Ye wo new chairman Henry Ochu Jr. is a new chairman. Techi is the head of communications. Ye be try mo say a member na aba busoka no. And yet executives no more no because say I can't some near say I deal with a good juma and cafe more the more fair puso more how they saying up to today now on City FM now respond
there be someone crop for no
anyone no ye dey dwedifo aboso kan ye dwedifo commander with all due respect ye anti political party here dwedi na edi wo ho ti say mom super showdown no. Me say on the 1st November, all shops will go down. Ye ni mo Kumasi ya catch room. Sa, a friend example, as Ghana National Association of Garages said, no making it clear say omu timi support here because of say omu patron no or a political appointee. Na pong.
Okay.
On the na on the shekasi now fast staff on the director po. Vehicles of fast on the show. Into only making it clear mama nko ne ma into the see now ye more ketia eno makasa oko Ashanti shoe sellers association they are ready and food for nyina
I see
they are ready and now course magazine so magazine any chairman di nkomo edu no on the spare parts for nyina so magazine
yeah
ma ya catch romo almost say ade to ani a atom so ani ombeba guta Kumasi Tony on the guta secretary almost also their full support. You catch them say someone ma you ma gonna feel nyam say omo because omo ye politics inti no mama no me catch them Kumasi sa omo time so meba inti ene na police for na kire say omo pa e chow eno mo pa e chow say date dem mo omo you dey share 1st November you be communicate am omo nyina say na kwakoduo on the 1st all shops will go down and you super showdown near be ma GRA near the ma customs
but the microphone stromo say 3 hours 4 hours na mo ase abebie the aban be kan say we enko ba bia de mbeye dede yenhia wo obra sport from obra sport na
onum say honorable Kasim or say asemba onya botre no amount the benefit of the doubt also ya dia eso onya botre na wo hwe ade ne so e bae no ye catch the whole Ghana say enye say ye to stores the whole day ye tum I press conference mama say ye nyabre say o ma respond to ye how na stores be go down and the 3 days e go off 3 days in ye tum 3 days. The reason why you postpone baby kwan say o say gamanye ni wo no ye beto stores mu
yeah
nti ye omodi letter back say o meto stores mu ye be say ebe frafra ye no so that say esa na ebe ye bibi kakra enuti na ye nya botre ye police for yate ye members no they are more than 15,000 nti ye share situation oh yeah constituency mu o
I see
more than 15,000 now ye the vehicles 1,000 eba ye share situation no na say okay all my options too almost 15,000 if an ye be bo ye hwan no because police person move in ye hwa bosoka de bosoka te say tadia obra later they say there be and ye be mom second option say stores nya betum na leaders no ye move from bosokan ne no nya move na stores nya tum na task force for no and other security agencies no mo ho ne akwa present a petition ama parliament and a customs and a GRA na ye a na emphasize ye wi because and so sometimes when you be say you be ya dey me say ye gidigidi but message no most important say ya to your stores no e come and yen be betum aboso kan yente political party wo you ade ya will follow you and support you.
I agree. The quick comment. Say what is the way forward?
Okay, when we say with the presentation we share taxation and the port alone. Oh, it's almost about 21 different taxes and levies. And yeah,
yeah, on 21.
Yeah, almost 21.
21
on one item. You need to pay all this before. Until why don't you harmonize it to make sure say we are paying only 2 or 3 to make sure say we know so abba from kakad, then we know say we are moving forward. Until no, niakacho money say network charges it needs to go off. BBT say presidential special levy. See if you.
Yeah, no idea, no.
I don't know.
Eba dabe.
Says can no mujini idini free
presidential levy. Special levy. Eba dabe 10 years ago.
Eba no mo de aba no mo yi. But aban by 2017 January it was there. And this time omo de buy.
I don't know money free.
And this time no we had a for instance shutdown of business 2015.
Yes,
we no
you know.
Special port levy can.
So there no. Emma mo suspended.
I don't know one person be here. I don't know both side why.
2017 the deliberations and say let it be there for a while, we'll take it off. It has traveled throughout the 8 years that this government has been in administration. Then we also have your friend is saying other components because sports and harbor or more so charges we need to look at it because we can say yentuya network charges then we really don't understand because it has almost about 5 components.
5 network
charges. You pay for network charge. You pay for network VAT. You pay for network COVID-19. You pay for network NHIL, and then you also pay for your friends say network charge get fund levy. So into when you know it's almost it's a nuisance tax. And as a levy a so import your friends say no because they can charge only 1, but why do you charge 5? You know, say you sanema winning everyone. Then there's also an issue with your friends saying sustainability bill na the buyer. In fact, what is happening then is after your boss has paid all the taxes, na sika kakra no so enya na ode kofie no yesi o ya je tax nya wi sika wonya no pay us 5% or 2.5% on this value and on your friends say so sustainability bill na ye charge you, so you pay for that money for free to government. Then you ask yourself, after paying all my taxes and now you are bringing this on board, because on the your friends saying beverage sector no, we pay almost about 70% of our taxes as revenue to government. Then you are bringing another 5% or 2.5%. So you ask yourself, why should we pay all this money? Are we working for government or we are doing business to expand our business? And you know, if those things are not there and I work and the profit, little profit that I have to take home, government is also saying I'm taking so much from you on that. We say it's tax on tax. And you know, we now I say and now our system
but mobile joining about so kind for no.
We will deliberate and see how best we can do it. We'll do that.
Wait, someone catch me.
Yeah.
You need to go back and deliberate on what
we need to. We own him. Young Crawford Bebre now are experts in ABA businesses.
Oh, okay.
And when they take decisions, they go and count them, and then later they hand them down.
Oh.
I'm telling you for a fact. In the mechanical, so most of them are afraid to take certain decisions. You see, but you cannot do this forever. It will get to a time when they get so much frustrated, they would want to fold up and leave. And people who play politics and they don't understand the way the system works will tell you that foreigners are taking over our country. Go. But have you forgotten that these are the people who are employing the people? Guinness, Trillium, your friend is saying Blochem, Coca-Cola, your friend said Nestle, Malcolm, Maxmart, ShopRite, your friend is saying Palace. All the people, companies, big companies that you can think of, they are the people employing Ghana. So our indigenous businesses, you know, your friend is saying almost play almost part. You know, if they are employing, and we give them that support, they can expand their businesses and employ more. When these businesses are not there, but unfortunately, you know, this is what we are facing. And now, we say, value added tax. You only apply the value. You apply the tax when you are applying value.
Value, yeah.
But when we do the import, we have not even dispensed the product. You pay for the tax. And when the thing comes to your warehouse, you pay the tax when I'm passing it on to the other person. The other person also comes to buy, passes on the tax for the retailer.
So which means even with its implementation, you cry wrong.
Yeah, wrong. Well, we have been, because with him, Rollins, this have we buy, and no kumi prepo.
Yeah, I know.
Buy, What was the purpose? Government needed money, so therefore they need to raise money upfront. So the input and output tax came in. So that when you pay, you file your papers, and then the output, we do the knockout, and then the balance government pays it back to you. So and the Satam no they are in Juma in your own faso. Unfortunately, and they input output bill. I knock out your friends and differences.
So which means some way, somehow, it is not serving the purpose in
the
here.
Purpose, no.
I
you see? So we need to go back and look at some of the taxes. For what reason were they brought on paper, and how are we implementing
it? I agree. So sad. And come on here, the time we'll call. We have other things to touch on it live on Accra 100.5 on Tadi FM, Elmina Benya FM, in Tamale Dagban FM, on your Facebook page, on our YouTube page. We are there. But Onia, I agree. So I'm could deliberate on it. Yeah. Whether Omobe join him or not, someone join him. So we will wait and see. Answer Omo de Bemamo. Enyumre yeda se ya tu ensa frem mobile anya no kasa ye nyame sham bebre na mepamcho yesre mo meka se mi station
voter region
yeah mi station menya pani wa ha enti gise mpani foka se omo but mo hwe na mo nkoboa wo mo why anga agree mo nko na mo nkoboa mo se beverages kakra bi na betimi ame aboboa no a meni listo wa nyina bekọ akogya o na ya yeninim krokro ni bi so na yɛmfa nkɔboa wɔ mo at least nkɔlaa no nso nya biribi kakra no because sɛsɛ akɔlaa no yes ɔntumi nkɔ school ɔntumi nya hwee ne nneɛma ayera nti ɔnya bi a calipo ketewa bi ɛnom a na ɔno nso ne ho ɔho sɛ ɔno nso yɛ Ghana ni kakra yɛpam kyɛw why abɔsɔ kanfo yɛpam kyɛw why yɛdɛ mo ase bebree
ɔmo de ndadeɛ no bɛnyɛ yie
dabi ɔmo nwe dadeɛ okay so star 413 hash star 413 hash Nana Poku Atrasi list one Nana Kusipoku executive director GAG and leading member Eddie Arise Ghana and Watrasi okay Watrasi say sounds na enche Chasako will join us Buno communication officer thank you Uncle Agri thank you so much and also enche also be join here in the studios top choco sibe catch Ghana for say top choco chocolate spread ye the fabrudumu na no so na de papa wo nya enni bia na wa ba omoden wakwa jibi eno top choco 3-in-1 chocolate drink ya ye no so odi aba wasi de ohia ne nsuhie ebugum na okro no from 0243 033 onsa betumi aka omo remember back to the studios nana akwaba nana no doors but voter region eastern region very me sure say na wutie e honorable kujeto.
Yeah.
And it's sad the way and Yemesiako, Yania one. Then another issue that Galamsey press conference NDC but voter regime say you person any taxes issues no over touch no. Those are make canon.
Any kind church for no.
Yeah.
Me more abaso. What do be a ebane yetiwa.
Aye.
Na the kind. Oh, Kwabena na sometimes you can't asemfa aban we ho a na sometimes menim how because there are things that are supposed to be very easy now because evolve from baby aye ye free ba bedru baby aye dru no sabi o de say wantimi ensua hwe krampo a at least there are so many templates ye betimi follow Emma or Hawa and a woman Emma.
Yeah.
And no say me share a choir ye faso handle issues or memo especially in respect of the SU voter region me dream one mentias.
What is your issue about the voter region?
First of all, let's find out why na penia or that VR no.
You need better.
Nipo da VR no. Me na me president. I don't think he would qualify to be there. He's a square peg in a round hole. I don't even know who. But whoever is there, no. Kwabena, or a square peg in a round hole because the kind. And yes, I could sorry, ya nebia, ensure tall that could be, and I bet me I say, a natural bibi na ensure tall ya na a quiet manner, a buffa sworn and noir by itself, a buffa sworn. That's not what has happened. Nobody can say it's a natural disaster.
No.
A fools who have committed this suicide on these people of a voter region. And the other
and parts of
a square pegs in round hole. No knots. Ekufuado chronunti or your appointment on share or be background. Chrono just because obey we that's all about it. I don't even know who is there, but that is how I can predict Ekufuado. And once you bring the person here, opami and degeno. You be who nipa kro. And we would know why Ekufuado put that person there. Just because, in the end, Obenya be ready. That's all. Only be apart from Chrono. Kwabena, Sebi, it is said you will share egu cap. Na cap no. Yema, say bon kaye.
Yeah.
Enunti, akoso modam ne wo ho no. Obia o ga na ha bia nim say
for a very long time. This is a dam wa ensuo nkogu mu ema ye krampo no ye turbines ane ye de ye adwuma as very for the ye adwuma ma power ye friend say ema yenya electricity no ebedu baabi na afa em se mienu pass say na ye adwuma wabra na ye hia ensuo ewo dam mu no ye enya afa na ensuo de ebam. And so can you believe, say, me yadima babetranum, my simpa penny, and I'm just watching it happen. I don't have anything to manage. So if you are not managing anything, then why are you there and taking salaries? You are drawing salaries, but you are not working. Ogoka, no be abejranum, I know bonkaye, and bonus and via statement omo issue ye proud to a year or more spelling exercise no. There are two your Facebook page. Press release controlled spillage of water from the Akosumo Dam and Pond Dam. The Volta River Authority via wishes to inform the general public that it has observed a consistent rise in the inflow pattern and water level of the Akosumo Dam. In line with our emergency preparedness plan and standard operating procedures, the Volta River Authority has duly notified its key stakeholders of this development. The reservoir level as of today, that was on the 12th of September, suggests that we may need to commence controlled spilling in the coming days. Controlled spilling in the coming days should the situation persist. Now, VRA therefore wishes to caution all residents along the Volta River and downstream of Akosombo and Pond dams to be on alert and take the necessary precautionary measures. VRA will continue to monitor the situation, work with our key stakeholders and provide regular updates to ensure prompt response to any emergency that may arise. So they gave them this statement, just a caution. But when they were about to open it, they did not inform them.
Correct. You see, much as we own MDina or hono, MDina or hono. So yeah, whatever no. Kwabena, I was see a corner so near Unity. Wa bon papa. Kwabena we nya dia kebe hu. Hwe ade ne start say eba no. Ade ne start say eba na uhu say ensuo no betimi ayema abuso no. Ena nke bi krampo a o start ya announcement. Ena nka ma nkofo ani ba omo ho so say ade we de we a ekọ no. Yesusu say betimi ayesei. Eno krampo no ama Kwabena enye hu te say ade no se wada na yakọ spele ensuo. Unim de nke betimi akoso. No, but a bit more cry. What's your lady Nanam Nene Casa from Central Tono? Was it a bit or multi fast on being pano on be evacuate you on my free beer? I dine 3, 4, 5 enclave. We are free and a diner bugu, Jim. So, which can means, you imagine? But for, yeah. In fact, say, Sian will be sending me a year, a friend is a picture, and I don't know. I ask you, I'll say, Okay, so obi send me picture bi ayaw. One lady bi ensuo no ebasa no. Say na asupi wo abefa ba bia wo nto na nti nsuo no adwane na wo no car no wawu adan nsuo no. Hey. Yeah, just right now. Me adwuma ya they send me the picture and I think my producers will show it here right now. Me no ka say ya. And omo they send me. So that and nipa na da no abwan kan won ensuo num so wantimi a movie wantimi andwane amfiri ensuo num ena ensuo no de na kwakose abebi ase minim say as time goes on no ye kakra enioma ni bi bedadi because
bedadi
ensuo no se bi afa obi kura na he say bede wo hu.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. A time on corner a receding kakra no and issues ebe pie. But anyway, to also.
And so Kwabena me de assembly me bufu.
hwɛ sɛ yɛne ɔmampani ti ɔman mu na asɛm wei ato yɛn ɛyɛ ato rɛnkyɛm a kyɛ sɛ ɛɛhu ama nkɔfo yɛ homeless kyɛ sɛ obi anya baabi akura mpo no wafa waa na wode md ne kɔtena hɔ ɛnyɛ obi ɛna ɛhyɛ wo sɛ fa wɔbɔnfo a wabɔn kɔtena viari wo na ade ne kɔɔ hɔ ɛna woahu n'adwuma enti deɛ paa na nka bɛyɛ fɛ sɛ nka asɛm no aba no na nka abasahare so wo watumi anya ho Moroccofoɔ a ɔmo sɛbi ɛwɔm sɛ yɛyɛ Africans ne wei a yɛn nyinaa yɛte wiase a sɛbi obi ɛka na nti ɛka to na sɛbi wonni fi asɛm wie yɛkɔdi abɔntɛmsefo asɛm ɛduru baabi na aka akufa do asɛm a mpanimfoɔ ɔmo ne ɛyɛ ɛbɔ atipɛn no ɛyɛ na ɔmo adwene yɛ ɔmo sɛ eti mu a nti sɛ nea mo dwen no mo ahu sɛ mu nua no na adwene ne nya adwuma no eti mo ntu ne fo na wo wie yɛ wɔsɛ agya yɛ hɔ akɔtara America ɛnɛ efra no pa ɛne yɛ bɔ de rose yɛ sɛ wɔ kɔ hɔ ɛno kura mpo no wodi sɛ nka owura John Mahama nkɔ hɔ a na nka pani bia nya na adwene sɛ wɔ kɔ hɔ ɔmfa ho na dmofoɔ ɛna mete sɛ yɛ sɛ ɔmakɔ ne nam hɔ because ɛnneɛma ɔmkɔ yɛ no anso ani adwuma ɔmkɔdi wɔ hɔ no anso ani because sɛ wohwɛ damage a asi wɔ yɛfrɛ ne sɛ spillage yi ho na nadmofoɔ sɛbi ɛmo no ɔbɛnoa no wɔ he aho ɛna ɛmo no ade kɔma no nipa no ɔbɛyɛ ndɛ dabi menim o Kwabena tapoli ɛne tent a yɛbɔ no ɛno ne bɔɔde yana yaw the fact of the matter ne say nadmo no bibia ni hɔ there is nothing they don't have anything say ɛyɛ also ɔmo man nkrɔfoɔ contract ebia fa nneɛma say they don't have money to even gather nneɛma wɔ hɔ nadmo no esi hɔ no is on a truck akoye trotro de na si wo asem when asem besie no na omo ankrofo na frefre omo ubenya we na say want say Canada Japan say omo do omo ka nadmo e ka ni ade bebre they don't have anything the nadmo is just sitting down there like anyway so this is the chief executive officer Viari Mr. Emmanuel Entwidakwa. Those who don't know him, you just need to know that this is the person you do taxes Trianica. It's our right to know. He's a buffoon. Yeah. He's a big buffoon. This is Emmanuel Entwidakwa, Chief Executive Viari. And when I do taxes Trianica, and you have the right to keep this picture, you have the right to know his face, you have the right to know who is shopping your taxes. And this man is the one. He's the mess. Yeah. He has caused all this mess. All right, so that's it. If he had controlled it, there are so many ways in controlling such a thing. When you say ensure na to free women as mintimi fa pan koso. Ensure na to na agu ayimu na abegu dam nim. Enti no e dey pan na keche say nka untimi control how to spill it. Oh, Charlie, Kwabena do baby a edu baby a. Imagine me say we have to have a very drastic way of solving some of these problems. Jimmy for the does too much. We are not in a mama kodao. Yeah. Nam can me sadie we pan and kiet me baby or tea and kiasu yama on so a homeless. The point is Jimmy does too much. Metier council or said that the deputy director in charge of engineering. Metier no on City FM. And straight away, to be honest, maybe that guy friends Bernard Avle and I know one person be rude, but what me say asma akwane kano media minimni pakro chere na de but Jimmy ni complete or say they started the assimilation exercise in May they started it in May, then September 15th and almost started spelling no. This 5 months after. 5 months after. This letter here the beto hano. On the 12th of September. Now, mitie o hine ba kwa na omo body tape ewo city. Or say omo ba omo last Wednesday ne be kachira omo say bibi omo nhwe omo hiye na bibi say before they could say Jack Thursday and ajo ne bufa so. So you realize that omo anye any preparations utie lady na menene kanwa normally no severe reform bad omba with NADMO they give them a life jacket near the day omo evacuate nipa 1,200 with that life jackets 1,200 and without the support of NADMO. So clearly you can see that this VRA man and his people and that council and whatever is either they are foolish, they don't know exactly.
Don't ask either. They are foolish.
No, but the idea makers are saying, Obi Owana Onyimi and Wasada.
Wasada.
Yes, that is what I want to say.
And you Wasada Jimmy Aboda.
Because say almost said that, and in Kobano your friend say Bernard Edino Nana. Yes, simple questions. Baby, na me say Bernard Eluzu track. And I'm like, Bernard, go there. That between a year 12 now, we issue statement, you know. Even with the filed from May, ebepem a year a time of more spelling, no. More visage say in so no magnitude, a year there be a munya and sana mubenya, because at least you should know. Say a beer at a best spell to this level, a best spell to this level, a best spell to this level. More informing or the lady was telling us sometimes it be 100 meters from the beer in Suno or say be Okrana Abba a beer as say. But say no aspilia to 500 meters away clear villages. And the more and I walk and when you so near talk gidi what once and waka say onye nyame. Where ya there to be a muko susu, mo measure into adene kosu nyina no muhu adene kosu nyina muhu and munim mone mo other counterparts or Burkina edin sawoso so munim how a much water air flow from almost so Bagri Dam omo bi no you said nothing. So me I feel so much said that I feel like the chief executive officer because and his guys deliberately did it.
Obia unim how dams are managed biano. You know how to and Kruma Dam now we see Kwabena gauge the home. At every stage unim how much water, how much volume of water a woman. And yes, sir, we crown uko jinanso na de abako tum de akowo mu ahwese ensuo no eduru hen.
Mo gauge
the home wuhu say your friend is saying ensuo no say na wom akoduru ha afa ha akosi ha enti se koba se wo na asebio wako suku sampa se wako suku a we obekọ no oni proper certificate kra as to how to control or your friend is saying dam control management system ko onim onim how to control it onim how to manage it and yet na kotena ho because you feel say via radio I will say ye wa na ye bokro no and yet na kotena ho senya sa Kwabena me de enwema ni bi wo ho a akwete say e bi so a che say nipa na Akufo-Addo person omo ho kire omo because Kwabena me I drew a conclusion say omo person em say omo kro omo voter region kura omo ngu all this while when you say Akufo-Addo ne first politician ane oneba omia a omo timi ase kire omo anu aka kire voter for say omo nya Ghana for
yeah
enti no me no madwen ya me say voter for ena omo pe omo aye omo bone anunti no mayesa because this thing could easily have been controlled and can cover trouble way babe kese bia ma in fact muhu sa de no krampo no eya basoro aba ba bia office eya no ena nke bia hospital ye kra nke bia nkaba na nke nsuo no areria ma nke bia me kan enkan kwaye te said ye ne nsuo no ama na ye bebre na ye hu onhu ba bia obefa no asifisem John Mahama nko
yeah go to the JM kan yeah because omo ya
John Mahama nko ho ena ɔkɔ yɛma amanfo hu sɛ adeɛ wei ano ɔden a na nka Kwabena what is aban I take steps bi kura sɛ ɔkɔ akɔhwɛ ho
no
ɔkɔ wieyɛ ɛna Alan edi soɔ Alan free hɔ ɛna yɛfrɛ ne sɛn mate sɛ yɛsɛ Akufo-Addo ɔkɔ hɔ yi Bawumia woni Ghana ha woni ha and Bawumia na ɔwɔ Ghana ha no so ɔno ɛsɛ ɔmo nyɛ Ghana foɔ no
yeah
wakɔ hɔ na ɔkɔ hɔ no ekosi sɛn o sɛ nkɔsɛsɛm na ɛwɔ Ghana ha no kura na wɔnyɛ sika ɛde yɛ campaign wɔnyɛ sika o so na de yɛ campaign ɛde ba bɛpɛ ma mpɛmpɛ
na ma so be my updates
President Akufo-Addo akɔdu voter region ya ɔmanfo ahyia wɔ
which side Northern and also call Anglo side
I saw a side hɔ no na K2 side hɔ na
that's Anglo side
ya wɔahyia hemfo ne ɔmanfo ya Sunday spillage no affect wɔ mo na Kwabena metie ni speech ni nsɛm a wɔka ne kakra ɛyɛ ma homete
ada wɔse sɛ
sɛ Nana Addo akɔgyina wɔ saa brebe yi a enkrɔfoɔ ɛne atutu aka wɔn nsɛm wɔ nneɛma kakra ɛwɔ ho nyinaa sɛ no wɔgyina hɔ ka kyerɛ wɔn mo sɛ bana wɔbae no set up committee no wɔ USA ɛna spillage ni see chief of staff ɛfrɛ no ɛna wɔte yɛ no wɔbae nti bana waba hɔ wɔte committee na committee na wɔte no wɔnhwɛ sɛ wɔetu aba maame na wɔyi anto aba maame afɛ nsu kura no nneɛma bi on bɛkyɛ bia no omu nyiyim enhwɛ MPP foɔ ɛna ɔma hwɛ NDC foɔ wɔno no ɛbrɛ a yɛto abama no no a osuaye as a president no when suaye sɛ wɔyɛ MPP president osuaye sɛ wɔyɛ Ghana foɔ nyinaa president
obi nya ne dɛ
enti no aha wɔgyina mu monto abama me nanso no ɔnhwɛ ho sɛ monto abama
ɔka sa
ɛnsa o kwame monto tebunu no
ɔse monto abama me nso menhwɛ ho
ɔse monto abama me monto abama me enso menhwɛ ho my bad because me ye the leader me ye Ghana president me you
na guy monto abama o taxes so mutua ma dwoma ama ono oyire sanya ketufo taxes a wo Akufo-Addo hiani wanchi etese o oyire hiani wanchi ne otimi to bag $35,000 oba fotan we otimi bie eye hotel $6 million eye omusika so eye madness say obeka che omo say monto aba mame yes they won't vote for you but who be the president here omo taxes omo ntua madwoma ama omo taxes no wo ho so omo nya disaster eye sa taxes ni bi enyo boto obi nka se koje amoati aboto musika because se ka monko musika enka igbefo they don't need your money we unyimi more damo
a someone Kwabena wogina ho
na we unyimi more damo
because it
ama na kwa ma ye ka mo pa me de me ha me ma metinye
empa no say me enema ba ha because me won wa say nkrofo wo sa situation we say mu na nkrofo atwahia ho no na wo address wo na wo kan say we kire mo say mo nto aba ma me de asie no ye ne political nye MPP nye ndi system obi begina ha na so ye politics a ono an pen wo ye ne politics me mama ha ma ye politics mo ma nto aba ma me enso no me swai say Ghana president
enso what
enti no ma ba say me ba
enso what
sansem we ne say
enso we ya bodon focus
no wonu hu say na adwuma no wa ya wie eti che say the opportunity bi obenya bia no obeka che so obeka ne boso nsama che Ghana fo
Dabi ade a woni trim ne say se Ghana ni nya problem na se ye frɛ no a obeye o papa na wo Akufo-Addo se nya mampani na wote a Dabi o na ya mampani kura no mi hu obi a okose Akufo-Addo personal money na me so wagimi wabodam we ye nipa esra na de se bibi nkokodi we
me see Kwabena de o muntwe se o kasemo my government will try and do
something ayo my sika
o say my government will try you will try
ya disika ma o mutua taxes o muto nsuo num oji o mo tax o bebi o mbeto bia no oji o mo tax ade bia o mo ye bia o mo sika ni nyina ba ho asem ato eye Ghana ni no Fesikani bebe buano a you are talking as if say obi ba be power chawo say wo de sire no sana Omo hine koka
community day senior school sin asase so aka chen say wo ye.
Peace FM.
Also ye bearment to power.
Ene kwam se fa kan kwasi asem ne agimi sem e wo Peace FM. E na osore koya no obi anka hwe. Na obi ska ho. So obi aska ni wo.
Yes, what mu sem so o ma sheda pan chopa no me na kwagina ho. What mu sem say o ma sheda
da banana bu afu.
Oh, just na Kwabena sem o ka kan idie na. Say dey sem o ka kan idie. Ene nkofo ri bi su di red band bi abobom say. What mu so o ma sheda pan chopa na. Wo mu di na kwa kwagina no no nso kwa no. Ya na dwen say wo kɔ no. Okotu fun pa de ama wo mu. Okotu fun e de ama wo mu se mukura no. Mo mu nto abama e ama me. Etiri mo ho akire mo a I will try. I will try my best.
Chebi. Na mo tia ne emwa no mu ensuo no a iko kan ya wo mo so mo ntibi da no. Jo mama na koba wo mo water plant. Omo to ababa jo mama. Omo to ababa ndisi.
Enye taxpayers money a. Busa ho say omo mo waka from this year himfie.
Dabi o. What is say
waka from this year himfie.
What is say jo mama e complain this time say Chebi for nto aba emma no. Enso ode eye water pump a plant every what is in this work or na so akwa just go there, do what you need to do, because eye was said there say akufo do see obi antwa tax ma wa, they will not come and beg you. And then
also for so many we are
because we know senior politics we na
penina wo no obi kan ye etire na abo form na omoko to abama wo na wo 2016 and na wasa be wiem 2020 wo this guy so power we ask me
because opposition na wa akufo do no yire na oma
jo mahama so to opposition who of so to akufo do billion times anyway jo mahama to opposition ya ye ntwa ye tax man
ye ntie de jo mahama ko kan quick one pacho twa yan man ama quick one pacho yenkotie de jomama call ketu okokai. Another issue chief imam ye program Bobie anko Maulid
anyese Bobie anko Bobie jane.
Okay, because the water is flowing downwards towards the land and to the estuary and to the sea. We visited the Greenco substation. It's shut down because it's completely submerged. If you don't shut it down, it can cause major catastrophe. And then the mortuary at the hospital, which had about 300 bodies, they've had to ask all the people, the families, to come and take their bodies out because there's no power. The power has been shut off. And the mortuary is also standing in water. We saw the technical schools to Comotech. They have a new workshop. It's got all the equipment there. It's all standing in water. The three most affected constituencies are North, Central, and South Tong. And I think that the number of people who have been displaced, especially when we went to the hospital, you saw that the medical personnel have all been evacuated from their quarters and they are seeking shelter in a pavilion in the hospital. So they actually need support, they need help. Our understanding is that the water is not going to rise any further. From what we hear from the BRA engineer, he says they've reached the peak of the spillage. So it means that it won't get worse. But it will take time to get better because it will take time for the water to recede and the place to become dry again. We've had unusually heavy rainfall in the northern part of the country. I was in the north last week and I noticed that the white water had reached its upper limit. And so all that water is coming down to Akosebo. And so the people really need assistance. Unfortunately, my understanding is that NAPO has nothing. Happily, we've heard that DRA said they are going to support with some relief. And so I thank DRA and appeal to them that the people are in need. And so whatever relief they want to give, they should expedite that relief so that they can assist people to be able to cope with the current situation. But I think that this message will let the government and the whole of Ghana see what exactly is happening here. It's not just a story that is being told by people. It is the reality of people's lives following the spillage of the Akoso border.
No, so we've been talking to some of the VR officials, and the issue has it that it's not about dredging or desilting the estuary, but the issue is about protecting the Akoso border.
Yes.
So, do you think that we probably should have taken life more serious and dredge or desilt the estuary? Things should have get much more better.
No, the main problem is from above the dam. It's receiving more inflows than it should normally receive. And when that happens, you have to protect the dam, because if you don't spill, then it's possible that the dam can give way. And if it gives way, it will be more catastrophic all the way down the southern border. And so this is not the first time the VRA is spilling at Akosombo. But this seems to be a bit heavier than normal. And so I do think it's fine. But it's also good to dredge, because if you dredge, the extra volumes of water are able to move faster. For instance, you can see under the bridge, several parts are silted. If all that part had been cleared, it will be easier for the water to flow through so that it doesn't back up into people's houses.
Your Excellency, have you been briefed on any feasible alternative in terms of spilling and then maybe storing the excesses that we have? Is it feasible? Have you been briefed of any of these things?
Well, I don't know anywhere in the world where you can store spilled water, because the volumes are so huge.
Ena ɛwɔ hɔ ɛna nsuo tɔ a ɛwɔ sɛ ebegum na yɛde saa nsuo na ebegum no ɛde power ɛde nya electricity ɛna for a very long time yɛnya sɛdeɛ ɛnɛ yɛnya one should be able to know say ɛyɛ dɛn a nsuo tɔ in fact for the first time nsuo ɛtɔ wɔ sirem hɔ no wɔn si na ano ɔden papaapa
and still egu so.
Now once you get to know some of these things you have a plan for it, and it's not as if say Matthew for no ɔmo ɔmada.
But I
hope
have
been giving hints.
I hope so. You heard VRA blaming Matthew.
Blaming what Matthew? Debi ɔmo nka.
Ɔmo say Matthew for more the necessary information.
You see, I know the chance ɔmo kurom nim nyansa. Obi a ɔmo manage dam biara no. Oye obi a 10 biara no. Enya ɔmo kura na ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmo ba wɔ hɔ. Wo na ɛwɔ sɛ 10 biara wo yɛ den. Wo kɔ ɔmo na so. Because wo manage dam na wo manage no. Ɛyɛ nsuo ɛna wo de yɛ adwuma. Eti 10 biara na ɛwɔ sɛ wo make sure say unya the possible rainfall and the you can say the quantum of water ebia ebe pour, and this thing technology abua must say yetimi how we will have a heavy downpour or maybe a drizzle or a big crampa you know a bit me to green so na ensu ewo mu ne ketu abi you say technology omo kura na ma fo iPhone kura no at the click of
you are
able to tell and you can tell it even meti aka say ensu beto Nigeria
So which means they don't need to necessarily.
Now, there you come at yourself. No, if you reform money metro department. You see one when no money it's money metro department. And I know what are you managing? Because you man am no. Ensure akoso mbo mpacho omodo. Enye nsuo. By now kra no e wo senka motimi ahu se ebi kura mpa yensan kreti ebi adam bi o baby foforo. In case of her bagre asema aba no de bia ye ka bagre okay say at some point John Mahama nom your madwen say they will create a certain dam bia na ebe to say buffer in case omu bie bagre dam no ni we na then it holds the water for irrigation. It was in their 2016 manifesto. It was there.
I see.
Nyansa keke wo. Nyansa ketu abi you apply it because ensure ne ba ekoti fremfuo ne enobai so na ase no. Enti se wo tutu form na utimi to a certain depth bi na ensure ne ba na ebegumu a kwabena ensure ne begumu a uni afofi. Yeah. Enkonko se enobai na asase wo Volta region ne asase wo north no. A tabletop land. A flat. Enti so we took crowd say be a mile away. What me to amna kakraka. Say Kufodo edibe to samna no or the bekwa koyegalam say because I don't know to obenya good. Na say be otwe we deny him we dukrom. Hwe as obi e na paniche say Ghana yenya nyansani bia ni ti so ananim tedwa a sabi okeka se hunu ene ye pebi ena Akufodo say mo de mo besre be se me mo mampani dia ene meko me mampani
no but sesa no kate kumasefo
ekwasese no okeka no ekwasese straight
on guys mo ka tire
straight
atwema ayifo
kwabrefo
oga Johnson sre obia say
ekwasese straight
nsra se to abama me
and maybe there me I have been of the belief say washada per se omankofo bufu na ebi krampa bibi ensi no mo fa hu no mo nwane but eno so nkire se ye Ghana for ya so yakoma mu se ye ma ye bunfu enya yi no bekeka nkwase asem kire mi pani wo mi fi anka wo nyini sei mi donyame me na nanu mo mu se we na de benyini am ya be di abusu atem na de draw why they come na we what we are say here straight way to be straight. You don't have to say sabi ogu akokura ni mu asehwe kwa na we na me edidi panifo atem no ogu wo ya akokura na ti wi ase abusa ho senti wa gibi sei obi ato abama wo da bi obi apacho se be nampani obi apacho when you wo wi ase we mu awapa Akufodo cho say ye pacho be ye mampani ma ye wo we wo fi bi bada
but enkomo a one kwa abrefo kodi ye no Emma clear signal say look membusa mo say me medi mampani eye mo na meto na mo be.
Is that the case?
No, but that is the story is now
that is how you tell a story of an ingrate.
That is what he is telling us, that
ingrate.
We are able to say Kumasi. The number of votes, but for Kumasi, you will never become a president.
Never kwabre for wuka. Wait, it is ukrom way for. Ukrom hu say ukra wo sefa.
Debio, ukrom unya even 17,000 votes.
Wait, ukrom for krampo.
And you omo to Obama wa bedi president.
Na yesi wo na wi akokwa na ni abo.
Wonu abusafo
na wi akokwa na ni abo.
Awies kasa no. Omo catch us oh. Ya de we asay. Inti ehiamwa, you don't tell them say muna motia na masom beto ama NDC me famo me nkura mu kokro motia mo betimi akwa
NDC enye party.
So the point is say omo kura ni o Kumasi Fromponi o na Volta region Kumasi Fromponi
imagine
na Volta but na yaw I think the VRA guy Ekwebiasun, the guy must go.
No, he must go. Kwabena, me no, I don't want to even question Bibia beyond say yebe pamona free because some of these things now air cost no Kwabena. Now what I think and what I would want to encourage Ghanaians to begin to do For example, Bank of Ghana governor no, a time is coming, the office won't mean see what. No, we have to let him know. Say Beka can the office won't mean see the office. It be a 1 week. You need policy for the best face will come out. Won't mean call the office. So what Jimmy was say say in Ansah, we are yakwa. Ebeka keku for the crap. The same thing because it's look, like, we have to let the world know, sir. So you kwasiana so better yes you better kwasiade actually. We will show them how hooligans behave. That is how we must behave.
The civil servants, no crano, because of politicians, they don't fire.
Yes, they don't care. Now we any years so wow ye
because this very guy and the OTA Ora Kenzo nomine the kind of explanation the under any jurisdiction they should just go.
I was say you were dinner ya. Na nipa na ono no sabi oh na to your friend say we akokwa na niabo na enka we akokwa we akokwa funu krampo ye akokwa funu ene mampani akokwa funu we oh na we akokwa na niabo na senka sabi menuanom kwabrefo any voterfo na we voter ni a ye keka mafunu ne keka madampan ya na wahwe wabrabo hwe kwase yakasa we na ohini mu a timi begina wanim srese me pa chaw se o mampani beye adwuma na joma ha meye wanwie betoa so na nkola nya suku nko we kwase akeka okeka
the other time I think so many na Krobo, one of the towns Yabua Mekakra. I'm say so many on here no say wa father assassin to me too almost cool dying kono. Oh, last time no driving to is this so many na baby or him this year ni wo
kon
kon right
yes kon enya ningo honum baby no
o de kwa Akosomo road
yes
Akosomo road right we no nya kon we ho so
me feel good
anyway me ready
no you good pa why had
yeah but quick one yan konko hwe jomama appear ewo Maulid right Maulid that is nkomsini Muhammad
sallallahu alaihi wasallam
ami na ne na fashe
chief imam
from the bridge say a disrespect to a chief imam Sheikh Shaributu obianim Sheikh Shaributu wabaya a father figure me free say only one of the leaders, one of the religious leaders. Yeah, meaning maintain and want some Bonnie Biada.
Never.
We are say no. Ne body language, ne demeanor, everything about him is so peaceful. Yes, when it comes to issues, but say on one in Nipedia, and I'm for you say, Baumia just decided to disrespect him. Though I don't know, meaning the entire. I haven't checked, but
I'll give the background. Maulid near Afasha Chief Imam Shano Busumi. Yeah, October ne de toso du bako afibiem na afasha omode ye nkyerɛkyerɛ efa okomshani Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kwan a ofa so ma Islam ebeda adie ma ene abeye adasa nyina adie nti religious program a oye na oya o invite panimfo a omo ewo Islam mu nimdie na omo abeye nkyerɛkyerɛ sɛ ne beye a bema omo a especially omo ye Muslimifo wo Ghana ha no omo behu sɛ ne omo bɛbɔ omo Islam abrabo na while o invite nipa omo beye nkyerɛkyerɛ no o sa invite edomo a omo soso omo ka bia ewo mu ya ebia sebio omo wodom di omo achi se na ebe ya omo nso ba betie nkyerɛkyerɛ ni bi na omo nso de aye omo de abo omo bra ewo eye ewiase asetenam nipa ya otai frefre omo bi eye omampani ne omampani dada no na for example bia asofo ni bi wo hokra omoko na kwa wako pen na so what I call say this year na me te say ora John Mahama can say say wantimi ama enso wa ama no krampo no say yesi awotwe ankodwa boase a ne nguma de eko na kwabra de esi ye nie papa bi wo chief imam office wa ye frɛ no Sheikh Arimiyaw na kwabra in fact oye obi a one Bawumia ene ye adwuma oye Bawumia kwala osuma no
Arimiyaw
yes wono na bibi boni bia ebekoso wo chief imam office obi a no wona ye ring leader ena wafa enkofu obi akwa bi a na ono so wote America na oye immigration for ni ni bi na wamo abono no ma betena chief imam office o ena boni a ekoso ko twi ba brema nyina omo na edie in fact kwabra 2020 ye to aba no be kai say chief imam tifie won ka so wokọ ba bia enkofo ekopeja ni sika mu ede ne ko gina mosque say o kwa ko congratulate Bawumia o kai sa story no
yeah
ema chief imam bu fu ye say na ba ne kra ye mu boy e dey na aso me ko congratulate obi enu nkemfu a kwabra previous years maulida o maye no o ma hu say ten bia John Mahama eba maulid na se no akwete say on say nyankopon wo chawade a no de achew ne charisma no emma edom epu behwe no in fact enkame ya ye say amafo hunu a o ma ho keka no ekosoro kra chen say empanifo a omo aka no a omo eba ho no enti last year for instance John Mahama drew ho no in fact fans a woje no ene deda eba ho no afei for a while na omo ntimi kwa konteni ye friend is saying osebo na omo bono no ena Bawumia baaye in fact it is said yes bio fitiwa obi amfi no ena ene ode na ni wo no ode kotena ne baabi eno ho abufuo ene ferie ena obekaye a Bawumia koka se Malam John no na sa Malam John no emma omubufuye afrase no se wo a wo ye kremoni munafiki wo nya kremoni papa ena wo sori a woni na ne nam baby basa na wobi abetinya be kotu Quran wo kura na wo ye kremoni papa no ba ye kura wantimi an kotu Quran enti eyade a ayemina sepo ehihye binum na chief imam so owa abusua Kwabena sebi preduasa papa ya tena ga na hase ne wo ka no onya obi sebi ontia wo na so kura no opa wo chew so nim say he is my father too, and as a father and son you know and you ma akoso ne doso Kwabena ba akoso ne say wo ba wo mia wo ko she chief imam bo last 2 years say maulidi ya mu o say chief imam asi sukuu dan bi wo ni fichire wa wo beba be si dan na ma no ama dan na ye kra behwe ena dan na si wo ena Kwabena enye nansen ena nkofo aye so mo jeje ntoboa ede asi a chief imam na ankasa enu a na esa si na ade a Kwabena enka enya ade anka dan no be se 2 years ago 3 years crampo ago wo be share boss wo be sie no edan no da so si wo makotwitwa ho video kra ma emre bi yakoye ho ye friend say enchechire bi na we na rim yaw no na oye bawomi akwala no akwala bi so akwa bi wo bawomi office
yeah
ono so ka ho obeye press conference say omo be akodo John Mahama all his cases na emom oba ne ka ni mesi no si na o metena your friend say ni seat so e ma ne nko round
yeah me video ni bi
o yes anu na chief imam bufu e sa video na me dey send chief imam ani bu afu a o teatem gu o so say
but the point is Bawumia I don't think about me uncle
won't me nko because Kwabena ko duru ho a enu ade na yaye wo form no Kwabena ko beje ne home na enko Bawumia eye bema pa ne ko si ho a because like won't me na be say
I hear say
na say krampo no wo ko ba bia ntramofu ahia onye careful
but why
because wako kantam kese a yenka
mate say because Awa Muhammad ebe explain here say Awa Muhammad MPP
aye
ne write up bi o unfortunately I don't have time but what time to aso
no we chere beto aso
Awa say enkomseni Muhammad birthday da huhia na bibia sa akra ni
woni Kwabena de be ma Awa ni magu asepa ni say huhia akosi presidential days na esi ho no wa hwe video no
yeah
days na chief imam tiase no presidential days anti sada no me share sada na mu say John Mahama Nyankopon say hira no
na onim
the presidential days sa blue na ye de your friend say coat of am aboso no
yeah
and na John Mahama kwotena ase
but onim say ono Awa no patch say the Islamic world no don't recognize the Maulid
anti chief imam nim nyansa
enti ono Awa Muhammad say ono no nim nyansa chen
chief imam
yeda na say yengo tie na na kufado ewo kita ewie ya okoye ya no ensem basa so de ko odododio no no aka so akasa basa no de bi ko ho and yengo tie the quick one opposite near draw in booster bar mister ya no bi
when I took the oath of office as president, I took the oath of office as president of every single individual in Ghana. Of all peoples in Ghana, all districts. And whether they voted for me or not, once I have taken the oath, I am the president of all the people. So, Togbe, you and your elders, I want the people here, you, beginning with you and the elders, to understand that when something like this happens and government acts, government is acting for Ghanaians, all Ghanaians. I came here because Ghanaians are having difficulties and are suffering. And it is my responsibility to try and help. Because if it's a question of counting who votes for me and who doesn't vote for me, I shouldn't be here because you don't vote for me. But that is not my concern. And in any event, one day you will vote for me and my party. So Tommy, I came here this afternoon to express my sympathies and to when I took the oath of office as president, I took the oath of
Tabia Heba Center, Semen Cancer Ghana for say, or the Tabia Heba Mixture, Tabia Heba capsules, and now the Abba. Na Unumbia, Ebebua Pa. Give us Heba Center. Power capsules. Now say advert we don't want for what I do we are on the Quasia tape we are on the Bremi. May you me advert, whom I met to us and maybe. Give us Heba Center. I'm gonna do a power capsules, any give us cool capsules. Abba. And a give us Heba mixture. No more idea, a give us ice water, Abba, and also Unumbia, a bow. Greenfield Scientific Herbal Clinic, or say a bright soja capsules and a bright garlic plus capsules. And you'll be any other your day, can't see. More some mat a Fidian so.
Give us P capsules. A memory. Manum bia ye benemua. Kani metutu ya na minkuma bo asese de. Betu esa kum menia G. Give us P capsules.
Give it to me, baby.
Give us core capsules so e.
E mane meme nyina akoko yade. Sisi yade amamanya yem timotete wo mo no. Yedro no no. Manum bi amama de me ho.
Give us core capsules. Mrs. Moye thing. Give us core capsules.
I give it to you, baby. You give it to me.
Oh yeah.
Hey, give us in no. A man need ya bebusiemu papa. Na bema ka give us P capsules. And ni give us core capsules bomunum dia. Na eni jeni ahwode no.
Wabrudo.